Ardy and Fist. Let us show you what you might have missed.
And it looks like we are in fact live. Isn't it great that the war is over, Fist?
Oh, mate, we're
Great?
live. Oh, yeah, man. Oh, it's great. The war's over. You know, I feel just you know, the feeling of peace just surging like
Breaking
across
out.
the world, right?
Peace just broke out everywhere.
Yep. Just a massive explosion of peace. The thing I really like about the current moment, Ardy, actually, is that I don't have to feel in any way worried that bad stuff is going to happen in like the next like 6 months or anything. I am really, for the first time in a long time, mate, I am just really, really optimistic about everything, man. Like nothing can go wrong.
I mean, we did it. I mean, there's not a whole lot left to talk about. Now we can get back to some comforting slop, right?
Yep. Mooish supremacy has been, you know, dismantled. The war is over. You know, Trump's gonna do mass deportations. You know, in the UK, the government's like about to come back to its senses, and it's just so much stuff has happened in the last couple of days. I mean, wait, I did suffer like a traumatic brain injury.
Oh,
just after that. Did you happen to get like strongly like struck in the back of the head, perchance?
a lot of things seem to happen to you and you alone. I don't remember I did. You're not that good at haggling. Avi always uses you for experimentation. I mean, I don't know what you did in the past or current life, okay, but I don't remember. I don't think I did anyway.
You know, it's funny you should mention Avi, actually, because that's how I suffered that traumatic brain injury. So I decided I wasn't gonna be on the hook for all of these like loans, right? And I was gonna get a renegotiation. And so I just strode in to Shlomo Sheckelstein's office, right?
Yeah.
And Avi was like, look, I'll come with you, like I'll help you negotiate, because I mean, you know Avi, right? Like he's a mensch. And I was like waiting.
You're trying to refinance your negotiation, right?
Yeah. To like, 30% instead of like 90%.
And that's just that's just the negotiation. That's not
yeah.
And on the final deal.
And so we're waiting in Shlomo's office, like with Avi, and you won't believe what happened.
I bet I will.
I don't, right? But apparently, right, some kind of like vase or something on a shelf above me that I didn't see just fell off and like smacked me right in the back of the head. And then I woke up in hospital.
Did a potted plant fall on your head like it was the 40s?
Yeah. And then I woke up in hospital. But apparently, before I passed out, I actually signed a contract for even a higher rate of interest. So I'm now on the hook for like 250% per annum. So it looks like it's going to be back to the porno mines for me, mate. Right? Like there's nothing I can do about it.
just when you were out, right? Just when you got out and you were on the straight and narrow, you now have to be on the gay and wide. Incredible how they do that to you every time.
Well,
now, are you able to like haggle or negotiate? I don't even know why. No.
I do have a negotiation to figure out exactly how much BBC.
Right.
I have to deal with.
I was going to ask because it's technically numerical. Are you able to haggle your dilation?
Yes. Well, funny you should ask that actually.
I hope it's funny.
Right, in the industry, you sign a particular contract that is sort of like based on both like total inches and total girth.
Yeah,
it turns out, right? It's very, 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 very complicated. Apparently you can buy like futures, and it's like one of those sort of deferred market schemes.
Yeah, right.
I'm trying to get it down.
It's like when we listen to Jeffrey Epstein talk about the financial system, right? And how, like, you would think that for every dollar you're lending out like 90 cents, but for every dollar they have, they're lending out like $8 or $9. But it's that of the BBC world. right?
Yeah, that's right. That's right. And of course the great sort of invention of usury. And I don't think people sort of talk about just how awesome this is, right? Enough is that you can lend out money and then you can get paid the interest back on that money, and then you can lend the money on the interest that you got paid out again. So if you get paid back $1 in interest, you can then loan that money that you have received out again. It's all
asset. Is your interest an asset or a liability? I mean, understand at that point.
Well, basically what happens is you get your assets valued, right? I mean, it's a bit of a weird procedure, right? You go in, you strip off, and then you get a bunch of they sort of poke you and prod you, and then they determine like a market value for your assets, and then
oh boy,
they write a financial instrument for you based upon the value of those assets, and then loan you that sort of amount of money in order to sort of cover. It's quite complicated. I'm not really a finance guy, but Ardy assures me that it's all above board. So
did you inquire about getting possibly the deal that like James Lindsay has? He seems to be really enjoying his deal a lot more than you are. I don't know. I don't know if you guys have the same Avi you're talking to. There's a few Avis obviously in the I
did, but apparently I'm just too sexy to get the James Lindsay deal. Apparently that's the problem. You can only get the Lindsay deal if you look like a smashed ham sandwich.
Yeah, all I want is for a woman to lay on me the way that James Lindsay's breasts lay on his tummy like an otter. It's all I want in life, and I don't think I'm ever gonna get it.
Man, he been looking thick recently.
I got that feedback on the stream. Also, the feedback I got was, "Why are we still watching this?" So there's a lot of feedback on the stream.
It was quite a painful stream to watch.
I doing it so much. I don't know why.
Are we just born to suffer?
I know, but you can imagine if I had a kid, I would make him smoke a whole pack of cigarettes for no reason. He's like, I didn't even smoke one. I'm like, let me just put you through the whole thing just in case.
Speaking of cigarettes,
sure.
Right? I've got to tell you, right? Very, very, very happy. UK government has finally done something right. They passed a law that means that no one born after like 2020 will ever be able to legally buy cigarettes.
Born after 2008.
2008. Oh, some kind of arbitrary thing, right? And of course, this is great news for the migrant gangs, right? For the Pakistanis and the Indian smuggling gangs.
Notorious for following the laws there.
Oh, of course. Because they will now be able to make much more money off black market tobacco. But in a weird twist, the taxes on that shit is already so high that even though it's illegal, it'll still be cheaper. So, cheaper cigarettes, right, for the kiddies. You'll just have to have a plug now, right? Like you'll have a WhatsApp connect to get cigarettes. I personally enjoy the Chinese Marlboros with the extra fiberglass. It really sort of really helps clean your lungs out. It's going to be great. I can't. And of course, really, it's not like they could look at any other country in the world who did this and say that it had a bad result, except Australia, of course, who did this. And that's exactly the result that it had. And you now have killings and firebombings all around Australian cities as the Pakistani and Indian gangs fight for commercial supremacy in the tobacco black market.
Yeah.
So, so that's great.
What I've noticed consistently about Western democracies, I mean, let's use the United States as an example. We have 50 different states, right?
Right.
And so democracies care about the country, right?
Mm-hmm.
Wouldn't we just be able to look at one of our states that's doing something well and go, good job, that state? We should apply that to many other states. It seems like we don't really use what other countries do to our benefit. Have you noticed that in all these democracies?
Right. But Ardy, you're missing the fundamental point. How do these policies benefit Israel? Right?
Okay.
I feel like you're not sort of addressing the main issue that democracy is meant to be for. right? Like what do you
Oh
think?
yeah, that's it. The liberalism is for the goy, essentially.
Yes,
Which
yes, that's
I'm
right.
so glad that finally, I mean, in different terminology, that Andrew Wilson is going to be unpacking. Like the anti-democracy conversations, right, have been really swept under the rug for like a decade now, right? Hasn't really made it to mainstream prominence because then you have James Lindsay's coming out going, oh, post-liberal fascist. But now we're getting more and more conversations about how gay democracy actually is. And it turns out no one really has an argument for democracy except liberal propaganda they've grown up with.
Yeah,
Which is
well,
refreshing to see.
you know why that is. Did you ever hear the Churchill quote that like every fucking midwit like pulls out, right? They're like,
no, I'm not a midwit. I'm well below that, so I haven't heard it.
So Churchill apparently once said that democracy is a bad system, but no, wait, what's the exact quote? But better than every single other system that has been tried.
Mm-hmm. So he's using the trade-offs, right? There's no perfect system. There's trade-offs, and that's the best one.
Okay, but I've got to say, I think any system that causes like the complete collapse and impoverishment of the country in which it is used is a bad system, right?
Well,
like call me like a radical here, okay, right? But I'm of the belief that if your political system cannot stop, right, like the mass struggling of like a million
it's not a true
of like
democracy. We technically didn't vote on the mass migration. So I mean that they technically, if we followed, as Konstantin Kissin would say, if we technically followed democracy, right? Obviously that's very unpopular, but we never actually voted on that. So actually, if we do democracy harder, we would probably get the country we want, right?
Well, that's certainly what happened with the Bolsheviks, man. They went like the full democracy. You know what I mean? You have to like vote for what you want for dinner. They democratized the army. So like, every single like order that was given by a superior officer, you had to like vote on. And as you can imagine, it went awesomely, right? Like, you just need to democracy harder. Look, we're not going to vote on mass immigration. What are you? You some kind of racist, are you, Ardy? Come on.
Well, wait, I thought that was democracy where you vote. Oh, wait, you can't vote on things that are human rights, and human rights are wants for the liberal. And the liberal never wants anything for whites or Christians. So is my epistemology stacking up right now?
I guess. I mean, look, you got to understand, like one of the trade-offs with democracy, right, is that, you need a sort of technocratic class to shepherd democracy, okay, right? Because
doesn't that go outside? Isn't that anti-democratic? Because that's like a managerial class, kind of like a unelected elites that are running society that don't have any actual accountability to the voter.
Ardy, they're much better people than you, right? Like like this is what you've got to like understand, right? Like they went to university and got PPE degrees, right? And then went to work in the civil service. A lot of them are women. So this, this suggestion that they're not competent to like run a modern society, I just think that's just incredibly misogynistic and quite probably racist, mate. So shut the fuck up.
Quite. I really do enjoy how you take the mask off of their argument. One would think you're strawmanning their argument, right? But a seasoned listener would understand how well you're steelmanning their argument. It's actually the best faith steelman of what we're dealing with.
I like to think that I'm just ridiculing their arguments at this point, right? Like the facts on the ground are so bad. Like I'm past the point of arguing, right? Like whenever I'm confronted with like these arguments, particularly in the UK, I just want to like point outside and I just say nothing and just point outside and just be like, Do you have fucking
stop on the glass?
What about just shut the fuck up, look outside.
Nope, they can't see outside. They're up too high in their castles and their gated communities. I actually saw a video where blacks are now going in gated communities. So I think there's a breaking point that's happening once they're actually getting into the gated communities.
Oh man, the gated community is gonna be lit, fam. Shit, we're gonna have like a party up on this gated community. Ops won't be able to come in because it's got a gate. You heard?
Now I understand that the United States was started because we wanted to get the hell away from the UK, right? Now, what I want to do, I really want to apologize to you about what we did to your blacks. Okay, this verbiage we gave them, this slang. I mean, when did that like start really happening with the your UK blacks and their oppression narrative and their is that influenced by American blacks, or is this more so a genetic imprint?
It's influenced by the moves, man, right? It's exactly the same over here as it is over there.
Incredible.
They're a client group, right? Like, so one of the things that like started it off was this ship called the Windrush that came over right after World War II, right? This is the narrative that like see, after World War II and the devastation that happened in Britain, right? Like they bombed like a few houses. It was absolutely essential that they rebuild, but the whites, they didn't know how to rebuild. Right, they're just because you know what they're like, right? Like whites can't into.
Well, we have the West because we're lucky.
Yeah, so they had to import a bunch of strong, brave, independent blacks to rebuild.
I would say strong, and honestly, after that, I would say you're welcome. It's how you were bred. You're welcome.
And so, the kindly Moose had a ship called the Windrush. Now, haters will say that they went over to Jamaica and just loaded all of these people on and then like aimed it at Britain like some kind of missile. And then once it got there, sort of agitated to get these people admitted. But that's not true. The truth of the matter is that whites they couldn't build a civilization. And they were just ashamed of the fact that they needed the help of all these strong, brave African brothers, to help. And thus the tale of the Windrush lives on.
It really is a twisted and backwards game that they play with them too, where they give them communal phrases, right, that really describe the opposite. So like, for example, they love saying fam, and it's their community. And it's the least family-oriented and least community-driven people I've ever seen. They're always saying the opposite. It's some of the finest cognitive dissonance I've ever seen.
That's right, fam. Where my dad at? Oh, he be one of my ops now.
Well, what do you say we get to some soupies and start to get into it?
Let's get into it. King Spectre for $5. Golem Part 2 was fantastic. Fist, you're doing great work. Oh, thank you, Spectre. Actually, I will use that opportunity to do a plug. At the moment on Fistery, I'm covering this really, really weird book by Rabbi Yodel Rosenberg. That is
the whole intro is us joking around. I need you to stop. Be serious now. Stop joking around. And now it's your show, dude. If you're going to lie about your show like that, people aren't going to watch. So this time, let's do a take two. Forgive Fist. He's being very silly. So let's try it again. So from the top and say his real name this time.
But Ardy, that is his real name, Rabbi Yodel Rosenberg.
You gotta be fucking shitting me, dude.
No. So he
wrote, make fun of him.
So he wrote this book, right? That was like used for the basis of the modern myth of the Golem, particularly in Prague, right? And it's just this weird. He wrote it in like 1909 and claimed that it was 300 years old, and he dug it up from some library that doesn't exist. I've never heard of this before. Okay, and it's like this weird hallucinatory thing, and there are all these disconnected stories. And I started reading this one on the last show. That's basically like a Harlequin romance. It's the weird, like Mooish Harlequin romance in this book about this like priest that seduces like this Mooish girl and tries to get her to convert to Christianity. He's got his clutches in her, and it's fucking hilarious. So I'm gonna do another one next week. It's just too fucking funny. So thank you very much, Spectre. I appreciate that, mate. Double Mumble for $5. Thank you, mate. I dislike the stream. I'm doing my part. Don't dislike the stream.
There you go. No, you can't do that. If you're streaming, you always have to lean into it. Okay, you always got to lean into it.
Millstone Meat Neck became a member.
There you go, bud.
And Phaedrus also became a member. So we got some members like piling up, mate.
Very cute. Loving it.
You deserve what you tolerate for $10. Monarchies also have the propensity to care about the people. Well, if the king is good. And they're much simpler to manage. You don't like the king? Well, we depose him via methods. None of this wait 4 years and vote BS. Yeah, but if you study the history of monarchies, you can get some really bad kings, particularly if they're into like global finance. If you know what I'm talking about.
I know, but even a bad king, is it worse than what we have now? Is the bad king worse than what we have now?
Well, King John, who is the you know the tale of Robin Hood, right? You must have heard the tale of Robin Hood. Okay, right.
There was a movie. Well, I did watch Robin Hood Men in Tights, so I'm very familiar with the story that you're talking about.
Right. Well, King John, right? He's the one that everyone hates. The sheriff works for him. Do you know why they hated King John? Because
go ahead.
King John used excessive usury to steal land from everyone and bankrupt everybody.
All right.
So Robin Hood was basically fighting usury. True story. True.
That it is.
That's why he was robbing from the rich to give to the poor.
You see, fellas, there's no need to move Spurg. Just wait. Be patient, and it just reveals itself, right?
Mm-hmm. Coom of Doom for 50 pounds.
Thank you very much. Whatever that is.
Do you guys know about Rich Tidwell? Oh, I like a nice Rich Tidwell.
That's Rich Tidwell.
And his white, is that meant to be white sermon or
white
YouTube sermon?
White tea. Oh,
white
no.
sermon.
YouTube. I think, yes. YouTube.
No clue how he's still on YouTube, but he's probably the most based pastor on the planet. Straight up calls Moo satanic imposters with a live audience. Lamau, I am not aware of Mr. Father Tidwell.
Wyatt may have mentioned that guy. He did post someone that encouraged him to go ortho. I don't know if that's it. Possibly.
CSI for $5. Justice for Priest Thaddeus.
Yeah.
So Thaddeus is like the villain in the story that I'm covering on Fifth Street. He's a bad one. Right, look, the Moos are okay with like most of the Christian priests, right? They persuade them with their arguments, but this guy Thaddeus, right? He will not be mollified, right? He's an anti-Citrite. He just hates them, mate. He's always trying to like lure Jewish girls away into Christianity. Terrible. Thank you very much. Deadpool Kid for $5.
Here we go.
The chat is awake. Quick, sedate it before it starts noticing. Statistics.
As you will see, that is statistics.
Yes. Thank you very much, DPK.
Thank you very much, DPK.
Okay, super chat's achieved. Shall we?
Real quick. Real quick. We are now, our cycles are now matching up with Jeremy Boring. Okay, and I'm just checking in on. I'm not going to click on it.
Oh,
the 18 tactics Tucker and Candace used to manipulate you. So this is like they're trying to affect the podcast space, right? They're trying to enter into Podcastistan and run interference where, they have James Lindsay talking about Oren McIntyre nonstop. And then I think the Golem handler over here, his job is Tucker and Candace, right? Because Candace used to work for him. And these are the 18 tactics, okay?
The 18 tactics.
They got to do like 5 tactics. The high number is not promising, okay? You're really just throwing things at the wall. They're probably going to be repetitious.
I genuinely want to know what these 18 tactics are. Oh, this would be fun. We should get a list.
You didn't notice, and guess what? You were warned, which by proxy means what? Jeremy was right again. That's what that means.
Right.
What else could that mean?
Yeah. You were shown, bros. Right? It's all an op. In fact, this is actually Lindsay's sort of latest Goy Beam download, I guess. Right? This is all he's saying now at the moment. You might think you're really smart and informed if you're a conservative who has recently decided Israel is a problem for America. What if you think Moodyism is a problem for America? Never mind. But you're not. You're not.
What do I know?
Yeah, you're not. You fell for a leftist psyop, which makes you the opposite of smart informed, and cool.
That's like what a nerd says when he gets, they tricked him into thinking he was going to go to the prom with like the most attractive girl at the school, right? And then they end with like a bucket of paint on his head. You just think you're so cool is what you guys think you are. Shut up, nerd.
It's like those 80s anti-drug commercials, right? You may think that drugs are cool, but actually,
right.
And how did that work out, right? But that kind of like ham-fisted like messaging. Well, I mean, look, Lindsay says I fell for a leftist psyop, and I'm the opposite of smart, informed, and cool. Oh, dude, I'm gonna have to reevaluate my entire outlook on the world. Maybe get some kind of like, kosher centrist critical consciousness going.
He is very charismatic, right? So it's a very easy sell for him, and very quickly.
Okay.
Seth Dillon says, I tried to warn Charlie about him and what he was becoming. I was right, sadly, and regret nothing. I have never seen. Have you even seen communists so addicted to saying they were right? Like this is very unique to the kosher centrists, I would say. The obsession with saying I was right. It's like it's very, because with commies, it's very emotionally underdeveloped. This is the emotionally underdeveloped strain of the kosher centrists. Oh, I tried to warn you. I warned you, and it came true. I was right, and you didn't listen to me, and I regret nothing. What a likable guy, right?
I mean, I think it's because the fundamental basis of their belief is factually incorrect. So they have to go around like constantly telling everyone like how correct it is and how right they are. And
does it seem like a massive overcompensation by any chance?
It does. It does.
God,
it does.
Dude.
Hang on, we got a few more super chats before we go on.
Right.
Theodore McCarthy for $5. Hey man, thank you. We need a study to establish a ratio of good kings versus bad kings and good elected politicians versus bad elected politicians. Then we can compare.
We need a study. That's what we need. Yeah.
It's not a bad idea.
Yeah. A study put on by just a random person that we don't know.
Dude, that profile pic. Oh, my eyes. Holy. Dude, what are you doing to me? Thank you very much, Spectre, for the eye snuggles. For $20. Sad that Chad cannot be stopped with freedom fries and mooish lies. On call at work, so I'll catch up when Ardy restarts it tomorrow morning.
Thank you, Spectre. Do you like how he's on the run right now? Not on the run, on the go right now, and he still has. He can swap out the profile pictures so quickly. He's always got a cartridge in his pocket, no matter where he's going. He's got a clip on him.
Spectre, I hope your shift goes well, mate. Like whatever it is you're doing, right? Like someone say a prayer. For all the employee. Caesar the Great for $5. James Lindsay said we aren't cool. Time to pack it up, fellas.
There it is.
There it is, man. Right.
Try to come back from that. That's actually. Let me preface this. Are you going to go into some Lindsay stuff that that only I covered and we haven't covered yet?
Well, I mean, I think you have.
Now, before you do that, let me just give you a quick intro, fellas. Okay.
Okay.
As to how far this fall from grace was. March 14th, 2024. Okay. 2 years ago, James Lindsay was on Joe Rogan, and this isn't talked about enough. Where he always gives himself an escape hatch. Okay.
It's a Belt and Road Initiative.
God, I hope you're wrong about this one.
I spend my entire life hoping I'm wrong about everything I think.
How often do you write?
I write a lot.
No, are you?
What do you mean?
How often are you right?
How often am I right?
Correct.
Sorry. I thought you were like, I'm so in my own life in my own stupid head. I thought you meant WRIT.
No.
Like, no, I'm writing 2 books at the same time right now. I really am. One about Maoism, but how woke is Mao. Did
he come out with that book at any point so far?
No. I think he has found that Hasbara posting is far more profitable than well, I mean, look, obviously I'm not privy to like whatever arrangement he has with, groups like the Manhattan Institute and stuff like that. But it does appear that he is directly amplifying sort of all of their views, and all he seems to do is like hang out on Twitter. So,
we don't talk about enough this plummet. I've never seen. There's NBA players, basketball players that are now homeless, okay? Secondary to James Lindsay's fall from grace. This is only another minute.
But at any rate, I'm right. Well, let's put it. It's easier to identify when I'm wrong. I do overcook the books occasionally, but it's not very frequently. There's a whole joke online. James Lindsay was right.
What have you been wrong about?
Well, the far.
Okay, so when we think it's pathetic about how often he talks about he's right, never forget 2 years ago, in 2024, he actually said to Joe Rogan, there's a funny joke online that I'm always right. So don't ever forget that. This is really where it started to fall.
Right, likes to lord over me. I thought that they were setting up, and I'm going to totally give myself an escape hatch for this, but I thought that there was for sure going to be a violent clash between probably conservative Christians and the LGBT thing somewhere around Pride last year. And I was talking about that leading up to, through the spring of 23. And there was obviously no incident of violence. I was particularly concerned when all those Christians went to LA to Dodger Stadium and they protested the weird, what were they? The Sisters of Perpetual Indulgence or whatever they called themselves, the drag queens that looked like nuns. And I thought, well, this is going to be it, right? So I was wrong. I overcooked there. They did not. Now here's my escape hatch. I think that when that shooter who was trans in Nashville, was it Covington? Is that the name of the school?
Who cares, James? He can't just be wrong. Do you see how he says he has an escape hatch? He always gives himself an escape hatch. I've had that in my head for so long, and I finally found it again. So, just an old.
I mean, just say you were wrong about something. It's not the fucking end of the world. Like
escape hatch.
Just like, oh my god, man.
He thought conservative Christians were going to beat the shit out of gay people. That's what he thought.
Right, because he doesn't understand fucking Christianity clearly. So we're gonna play like a little bit of this. I know Ardy covered it a few days ago, but I didn't get a chance to weigh in.
I did call you out too to say that there's some things that we're gonna have to talk about that we've just. There's been since the dawn of time, man has always wondered who is correct, Ardy or Fist, when it comes to James Lindsay's fear or handling of power. So that's what we're going to be continuing that age-old debate.
Oh yeah, and remember that war between the our two groups of followers. You know,
yeah, what the Ardyites and the Fistians.
the Ardy and Fistian wars.
Yeah.
Too many of our super chatters fell on the. we must be able to come together.
The battlefield strewn with super chats all over the ground.
Severely depressed. The economic activity of Ardy and Fistia for years afterwards.
All right, what do you got? What's your gripe? What's a hair across your ass about this?
So I think I got about like 10 minutes. I couldn't watch the whole thing. Like honestly, at this point, it's starting to like.
I'm sadistic. I don't know what else to tell you.
Eat into my brain, like just.
Everyone's like, Ardy, can you just go to liturgy so you can stop doing this degenerate behavior of putting us through 2 hours of conversation that nobody wants to watch? It's sadistic. It's cruel. It's torture. Go be saved so you can make us watch something we actually enjoy.
It's crazy. Okay, right. So I just thought I'd sort of like look at this 10 minutes where he's talking about power, because this was the central beef.
Yeah,
that Ardy and I had nearly came to blows over whether Lindsay, if he was offered unlimited power, whether he would grasp the scepter or not. I just want to say, man, like Boring looks sick or like a junkie, or like he looks. I don't know what it is, mate. Like he doesn't look healthy. That's all I'm saying.
How one enforces the line. You say that a good society is a high trust society, that people are drawn to Japan, where you can leave a cell phone on a bench and come back 6 hours later, somebody's not, left it and cleaned it. That's a high shame society.
I was going to say, I actually said that on Twitter the other day very glibly, and I felt bad because some of my Japanese friends didn't like it. But somebody said, how do we get this society? Ted Cruz or somebody said, how do we get this society? One of the prominent people, probably wasn't Ted Cruz. And I was like, centuries of shame so bad that any disgrace to your family would cause you to kill yourself.
Yeah.
Like,
we don't.
Oh, for the love of... ethnic and religious homogeneity is how you get a fucking high trust society. You fucking moron, right? You have a bunch-
shame people so badly they don't want to be alive anymore. That's working real good for Japan's birth rates, right?
Oh, fuck me.
He
Right?
actually picks the worst part of a successful society.
Like, yes, notoriously multicultural Japan, right? Like, oh, fuck, oh, dude, all of this is just them trying to figure out why blank slate theory doesn't work. And they will literally be like squatting in the ashes of like civilization, boiling water in like a dented tin can and like munching on rats while being pursued by like packs of like feral stabnigs. And they will just be like, gee, you know, if only we had the right culture.
You could teach concrete imagery in a right-wing poetry class with what you just did. The image you just put in my head. That was so descriptive.
Thank you very much.
Yeah. But we agree. A culture where your phone doesn't get stolen is better than a culture in which it does. A culture in which you can walk down the street unmolested is better than a culture in which you can't.
Yeah.
If only America ever had a culture like that, Ardy, right?
Yep.
If only there were ever parts of America that were this high trust society. But I guess that's like this imagined and mythical past that everyone wants to return to. It just it doesn't exist, right?
You don't have like 90-95% white states in the United States that are, you could literally leave. When I go camping, I drive an hour north to New Hampshire, and they just leave logs on the side of the road, and you just put in cash. And
that was the craziest thing about going to fucking Boise from London, right? We're like at this hotel and we go down for like a coffee, and this dude leaves his like laptop on a table like outside the coffee shop and goes in to like order coffee, and me and the wife just look at each other and we're like, what the fuck?
Isn't that crazy? As a white person, you experience culture shock by white culture.
Yeah. Like you would just in London, you would never fucking do that. You just no. You don't leave anything anywhere. If you got to like get up and go and get a coffee, you pack all your shit up, right? Put it away.
Someone in the chat referring to Jeremy and James said these guys probably take their pets' medications. That's a new one. I like it.
Objective truths. Like there's no mainstream ideology that says, you know, we desire a world where you can't walk safely down the street and raise your family. We don't have it.
Really? There's no mainstream ideology that says that. What the fuck has James literally been researching for the past, like, God knows how many fucking years? The communists.
Orrin McIntyre. Oh, go ahead.
Oh, fuck. Oh, this is painful. This is painful.
I know, but it's not going anywhere. This is here to stay.
Those systems have broken. We can talk about, we can try to diagnose what caused the system to fail in the places that it has. But I think we would agree that there's an affordability crisis, there's an education crisis, there is, for the first time, real class division. Not the first time, the early 20th century, but the first time in my lifetime, major class division in the country, major racial division in the country. Again, certainly not for the first time. We used to have chattel slavery in this country, but for the first time in my lifetime, and has only gotten worse over the last decade, we have an enormous immigration crisis. We have an enormous drug crisis. We have a despair crisis, which I think may be the greatest crisis of all, particularly among the younger generations just entering adulthood. We have radical atomization. We have disruptive technology moving at a pace that has never existed in all of human history, which only compounds despair culture and isolation culture. All of this is happening. We have a $40 trillion national debt.
Man, if only there was like someone who had like done exhaustive research on the reasons behind this, right? Maybe someone like called Putnam, who wrote like a really famous book, like, I don't know, Bowling Alone, that expressly says that multiculturalism destroys civic engagement and leads to like greater isolation and loneliness. If only, right? And the thing is, I know Lindsay has read Putnam, or I don't know, maybe he stuck it on his bookshelf and fucking waved his willy at it. I don't know, right?
Doesn't it require the power of government? Or maybe put a different way, doesn't it require power to fix those things? If I were to steel man the argument of the people opposed to Lindsayism.
Lindsayism.
Lindsayism. You heard it here first, chat. Lindsayism is now a thing. He's got his own ism.
This is the argument. Isn't the argument that, okay, fine, well and good, America used to work. It doesn't. We're obviously in a moment of almost complete existential crisis on so many fronts, economic, spiritual. We're not replacing ourselves in terms of even having children anymore. Only power can solve these problems. The left used power to create these problems. Only power can challenge the left to correct the problems.
Well, there's two things you can say. I mean, so the problem, in my opinion, and I'm not a partisan guy, actually. I've never joined a political party. I have never been a Democrat, contrary to reports on the internet. I've never been a Republican. Sorry, President Trump.
I'll register you before you leave.
I won't even register as an independent. I'm just completely unregistered.
He only supports one party, the Moo Party, obviously.
I just love the idea that it's like, oh, well, then you should probably say to James Lindsay, I know that you're not coalition building, but we're trying to coalition build, and you're dividing out the coalition that we're trying to build. That's like what you would typically say to a non-Golem anyway.
I'm now that you pointed out that you think James is wearing a toupee, I can't fucking unsee it. Man.
Dude.
And I wonder if he's going bald in the front, because imagine if he was in fact balding in the front, he would look like a lot less serious.
It covers his. There's no line of his hair. You don't see where his hair starts.
Yeah.
Free agent in that regard. So I'm not a partisan character, but the problem in this country in many locales is that the Democrats specifically have misused power, often for very corrupt reasons. A lot of the drug and homelessness problems are due to literal like money wheels that they've created in order to create a complex by which they can throw money into the hands of their friends. Their friends can use the homeless shelter to get tons of people to vote for the Democrat that throws money back into the hands of their friends. I mean, it's arguable that the entire state of California, actually, for one state, runs that way. It's like, that's how the state actually works. And that's why you don't have, a railway that got built because the money.
Let me ask you a question there, James. Has California always worked this way, or could you perhaps plot a rise of this kind of corruption with, I don't know, demographic change? I mean, I wouldn't want to,
Well, that's the communist. That's the communist globalist elite that's doing that. Right. It just so happens that not a lot of people know this. The communist globalist elite actually came into the United States in like the mid 1600s and actually started an organization in the mid 1840s called B'nai B'rith, the Sons of the Covenant, which actually turned into the ADL in 1905. Isn't that incredible?
Yeah, and let's not forget the 48ers. After the failed 1848 revolution in Russia, a whole bunch of Moos moved over to the US and then fought on the side of the North in the Civil War.
It was a global elite.
Global elite, yes.
Yeah, thank you.
Went into other people's pockets, which I've called, by the way, the iron law of woke corruption. And I wish more journalists would take it seriously, because if there's woke smoke, there's corrupt fire somewhere underneath it, and it's worth doing some digging. You see something woke happening, somebody's getting paid off for some corrupt deal. I almost can guarantee it. But I digress. So the question is about power, right? The reality is, and what the steel man of their argument, or the piece of their argument that's correct, is that the wrong people are in power. But then the question is, let's suppose that we're able to get the right people into power by whatever means, even.
Now, this is, there's never going to be he's always going to be afraid of the raw. He can't even imagine the right person being in power, because what if they become the wrong person in power? See?
Yeah, well, this is because he doesn't have religion. He doesn't believe in religion, right?
Oh, No, I'm not going to let you slander a man like that, okay? He could sue you for that, just so you know. I just want you to realize that.
Decided nobody needs to know what my religion is any longer, and I'll never tell anybody again.
He has a religion. He's just always going to hide it, which is the mooiest way to have a religion I'll ever hear in my entire life.
Well, he keeps saying he's an agnostic. So he doesn't even stick to his own.
Perfect for moodyism, by the way. Agnostic.
Oh, of course. I mean, it seems like he had some kind of religious experience, when he was in Israel, or the closest thing an atheist can have to a religious experience.
I've shown you can be an atheist and a religious moo at the same time.
Yeah, of course.
There's no rules. This is where gender comes from.
Say, leave the means out of it. I think we should use constitutional democratic means, but we get the right people in power. There are two dispositions.
If those people don't have morals, it's not going to matter. Like this like Andrew Wilson like sort of lays this bare like, you know,
Yep.
all the time. If there's no fundamental basis for morality and you give these people tons of power, then that's the result you're going to get. You need religion. You need a, you know, large group of religious people. Like, I mean, like, are they basically saying like, you know, most of the founding fathers, like they weren't religious? No fucking way.
At the end of the day, with regard to power, one is that you're going to wield it, and one is that you're going to be a steward of it. They're not the same thing. So this is another point in the Jeremy Boring Christian Ethics of America box, which is, or maybe it's the Jeremy Exciting, I don't know, Christian ethics.
Oh, dude, do you see how charismatic he is? He's the voice of a generation, okay? But it's not like Pepsi, like Generation Next. It's more like Tab or Moxie. It's very bitter.
He's the voice of a disgeneration, more like it.
Yeah, disfiguration.
Voice of a disfiguration.
Ethics box. That the Christian model of how you negotiate power that's in your hands is that you are a servant. You are using that power to bring glory to your duty to God, which, by the way, is dependent on your religious liberty, which is dependent on other things. So it's, do you...
Religious liberty. So I guess if you were going to talk someone off the ledge of liberty, right? And you would say liberty for what? Now, religious liberty, I think, is a good starting point, because we go, well, that's like wars are started over different religions. How can you really expect them to coexist in the same country? So what is the necessity of having, you know, Hindu, Moodyism, Islam, like in a Christian country? Because liberty for the sake of liberty. It's what Andrew Wilson always says, my preferences, my liberty.
Yeah, well, that liberty, freedom for its own sake is technically just license, really, right? It's freedom without a cause. And also, I think someone in the chat pointed this out. James wouldn't know like how to glorify God, right? If it hit him in the back of the head, right? Like his view of like, you know, the proper Christians are the evangelicals, for Christ's sake. So I mean, you know, that's why he's always like attacking actual Christians, because they're not on board and they don't love Israel enough, basically.
Hold the office that you have with the intent to use power as power, or do you hold the office that you have in order to serve a higher good that's actually a higher good to the best of your...
Define a higher good.
But he's showing he doesn't know, he has no discernment. He has no way of telling.
Like what this is the problem with fucking atheists, right? When they say a higher good, what they mean is consequentialism. And once you start getting into consequentialism, you get crazy shit. Like do you know anything about like modern medical ethics? It is the most crazy consequentialist shit I've ever seen. So I read this paper. A bunch of these medical ethicists were saying that if you have to forcibly vaccinate a population, it's best to do it on the down low and not tell anyone, because right, that's the ethical choice. Like what? Oh my God.
Your capacity. They're not the same thing. Having people in the offices, what is it? Personnel is policy, is a serious part of the issue. Having people in the positions that are vested with power is a serious part of the equation. But what do those people do is one important question. How do they use their power? And for radicals, the answer is clear. Lenin is unambiguous what the point of the state is. In fact, he calls the socialist state a semi-state.
Oh, like nobody used power before freaking Lenin.
Well, that's the target. Yeah, it's all communism.
Oh my God. Right. Like what, the Tsar didn't have power. Like, oh my God. He is just entranced by leftism. Like he has to explain everything through a leftist frame.
I know, but I've never seen someone become what they're studying without realizing it to such an extent before.
That's well, you know what they say about looking too long into the abyss, you know, and like
it looks like a stupid moo. Yeah.
He doesn't call it a state, because he says, and this is in The State and Revolution, which he wrote in 1917, right before he took power. He says the state has two essential functions. Number one is it maintains class interests.
It exists to maintain the ruling class's power. Number two, it exists to punish the state's enemies.
Yes, that's Lenin.
Right. That's what.
Right. Like,
this is why some people, okay, that read really bother me, because they consider themselves intellectual and they have memorization, but their points in an argument, a debate, a conversation is, I read this guy and he said this, and it's starting to really piss me off. It's starting to really piss me off.
Yeah.
Okay, so that guy said that. Well, you want to know what I'm saying about you? I don't think you do.
Lenin's view of the state was that its purpose was to instantiate communism. Like, so why the hell you're like talking about Lenin while talking about, I mean, is he referencing Christian nationalism? I can't even tell, man. This is like
poisoning the well. We talk about people that we don't like, and then we go back to talking about people currently that we don't like. And then in the person's, this is what I would do if I was being a nefarious editor. I would poison your mind with Lenin and show these things and go, so anyways, Nick Fuentes, but you still have the memory of the negative association in your mind. And then there's no real transition into the next person. I'm just putting these two things next to each other and talking about them. It's such a cheap tactic.
Right. Yeah.
The socialist state, he says, is only a semi-state because it does not do both of those things. It only does one of them. It only punishes the state's enemies. It has no interest in maintaining class distinctions. Its goal is to eliminate class distinctions. Therefore, it's not even a real state. It's only half of a state. So if you, the argument that I hear from my opponents in the kind of hard right or woke right or whatever, is that they want to
Hold
get
on,
into the
pause it.
And it's very
hard
clear
right,
what-
woke right, whatever it is. Like that right there. And this is why Andrew Wilson is so effective when he's talking to people. He goes, no. This words mean something. What does this word mean? Not whatever. No. I'm going to lock you down on. Those are two different concepts. Lock down what that is. And so you can tell how wishy-washy somebody is about what they even believe in or how weak their epistemology is when they talk like this. Whatever I'm talking about, whatever it is. Like, okay, so we're not actually talking about anything concrete.
Right. Nearly done with this.
Yeah.
In many cases, explicit that their motivations are revenge, that their motivations are punitive, that they want to punish people, that they want to destroy their enemies. I get told on a daily basis that I will be killed the instant they take power. I've been told a bunch of times as a matter of direct fact that I will be killed the day J.D. Vance takes power, which I find alarming. But I think,
oh, come on.
Roy Vey.
Like what the fuck are you talking about?
Well, now Joel Webbin does make a good point here, okay? Cast the first stone, and what are stones?
It's like, well, bullets are little stones.
Okay? Just little stones being thrown at him, you know?
Right. That's it. That's
all you
I
can
wanted to
take.
say. Yeah, that's all I can take. Right. I'm done torturing the chat.
No, we can put a huge dent in the Andrew Wilson segment.
Okay.
Later on.
Hang on, a couple of sip chats.
Oh, sure.
Caesar the Grape for $5. Thank you, mate. James Lindsay said we aren't cool. Time to pack it up, fellas. Wait, did I already play this one? Whatever.
Yeah.
You know.
This is what James Lindsay just did to your brain. Okay. This is why you felt something negative happening to your skull. And you're like, I need to stop this. And then it's like going to stand up and you trip and fall down. You don't realize how on James Lindsay you just were until you stand up.
Theodore McCarthy, 3 months membership. Thank you. From now on, when my supper chats seem boring, supper chats is what I send after dinner. You should read them in a wry tone of voice. Well, you got a funny tone of voice instead. That way, at least it sounds like I'm trying to be funny. Thank you very, very much.
Thank you.
Theodore. That was
Very
great.
much appreciated.
Yeah, that's it. So
Moo watch. Let's go.
Moo watch. Okay, Moo watch. Okay, so just want to touch on this bit. So a sort of a polling pack leaked from this Mooish PR firm, right? Commissioned by the Israeli Ministry of Foreign Affairs about attitudes in the UK. And I just want to sort of point something out here, okay? All of the questions that they ask, some people could literally be arrested for like asking, okay? So they have the ability to do like proper polling, okay? You know, I mean, imagine if I, you know, started phoning people up and asking them if Israel is committing like war crimes, you know, they'd be like, oh my God, right? But I just want to point to this, right? this is their messaging deck. Okay, these are all of the messages that they are like currently testing and the results that they have gotten so far. And I'd like to point out that the columns on the right are divided into 3 parts. There's the UK generally, there is the UK Gen Z, and then there is the UK elite. Now, I had long suspected that there was like a specific propaganda track targeting the elite. I imagine this is exactly the same in the US because it is the elite that makes the decisions. I don't think people sort of realize like how much more propagandized to the elite are than the mass, because like what's the mass going to do, right? I mean, unless there's election, you're going to do nothing, right? You would be much better spending those propaganda dollars on targeting the elite. And look at the differences, right? Compared to like just the UK at large, 102 to 141, 91 to 142, 89 to 118, 87 to 153. So in all of these cases, the UK elite are much, much more favorably disposed to all of these messages. Oh, they're excuses, really, basically, right? For like why, you know, you shouldn't criticize Israel.
I just find it interesting because like elite is like language that Tucker Carlson uses, like populist language, like against the elite. I just find it funny that they're openly calling them the elite. They usually try and hide that.
They are allowed to accurately like represent the world to get stuff done.
Right. It's their N-word. They can call themselves Jays.
You are not.
You gotta warn me, bro. I got that, dude. That cartoon is so accurate with how they did.
I know, right?
Imagery.
So Jonathan Nosferatu is he's disappointed that he's not getting enough props for getting Nick Fuentes banned. How's that going, mate? Like, is you know, is there a problem with the war you ordered? Like, you ordered the culture war. Is it not cooked to perfection? Is it not to your liking? Is it not going the way you had anticipated? Why don't you throw like another $100 million at it? I'm sure that'll fucking fix it, mate.
Our research shows that they have failed to. Their pullback on moderation means they're not even enforcing their own policies. So let me give you some examples. And we looked at hundreds of posts, accounts, you name it. Like, for example, Nick Fuentes. So he's a very well-known, really revolting neo-Nazi social media influencer, but banned from the platform, which I don't think is
Pause it real quick.
Much credit for me for banning Nick Fuentes.
I just want to let the record show that this man just called someone else revolting. Continue.
I mean, it's kind of common sense. So, but whereas they banned him, we found hundreds of accounts that continue to push out his videos. Mm-hmm. So whereas his account isn't there, we found accounts with well over 1 million followers pushing out his Groyper videos on a daily basis. So Fuentes continues to populate and propagate his poison on Instagram, despite this sort of cosmetic kind of policy that they've taken. They're not even enforcing their own policy. They get over 100 accounts with millions of followers pushing out Nick Fuentes garbage every single day.
I mean, censorship is, you know, the core of America, right, Ardy? I think I've heard that somewhere, right?
No. We've been over this. It's accountability. He's not saying he can't say it. He's just holding him accountable for what he said, which is removing him from mainstream media.
Right. So you can say whatever you want, but you will be harshly punished for saying certain things.
You can still say it, right? A slave is free to run away, but they might get killed, right?
I can't argue with that, like, quite frankly.
So this is good. This is interesting. This is from when Elijah Schaffer and Sidney Watson were still talking to each other. So this has to be a few years ago. But this actually, right now, I really am not a fan of listening to Nick Fuentes. He's been very duplicitous with his speech. It's very hard to like be on team Nick Fuentes when he'll kind of just like say anything, not much of a coalition builder. But he has some rhetorical gems that I like to carry forward, and this is definitely one of them.
Hold on, go ahead. So
Crank the audio.
I'm sorry to shush you. I get what you're saying, like making jokes and being funny, or at least trying to get your, trying to antagonize people. That's one thing. And there's plenty of people who do that. Like, you're not the first person to try it. And obviously you're quite successful at it. But I would say, I mean, don't you think to some extent that polarizing people doesn't reach, if you really want to get your point across, and you really want to change people's minds, and you really want to push this agenda that you have here to push, because obviously you have strong feelings, and obviously you care about the trajectory of America, probably even the planet, and you do care about right-wing values, and you do care about conservative values. Did you think that perhaps to some extent polarizing people who otherwise might
I'm so sick of optics fagging. Right, like this is the optics
Optics
fagging
frogging. Optics frogging.
optics frogging.
Froggy. Yes.
Sorry.
But back then, okay, people were much more scared of doing that. As we've seen with Joel Webbin, not very concerned, right? So we're seeing, myself included, not very concerned. So we're seeing more people are kind of encouraged and allowed to really break out of the capitulation to the left in terms of optics.
Don't you think you should just like tell the truth more nicely? It's so harsh.
What do you think
Listen to
rhetorically defective means, by the way? You have to say the thing that is true. If you,
Yep.
I said this
Yep.
on stream. You're gonna
Yep.
end up couching your language so much where I don't know. I've been in many arguments with girlfriends, okay, and you talk to your friend. He goes, "Oh, how'd it go?" "Oh, it was good. We didn't argue." "You talked for 2 hours. Did you say the thing you wanted to say?" "No, that's why it went well, because I didn't say what had to be said." Few of those, and this iteration of Ardy was born.
Is maybe not the best course of action, because obviously there are people who are going to love you regardless, right? There are people who automatically agree with you, who think you're fantastic, and a lot of them in our chat at the moment who really, really think you're wonderful. But then there's a bunch of people who might, warm to your ideas if you weren't saying like, yeah, let's do this, that, and the other, things that they might find inaccessible. Like, I guess I'm just trying to understand.
Yeah, I understand where you're coming from, but in my opinion, the truth is polarizing. When Jesus came, he said, "I came to divide people. I came to bring a sword. I'm going to separate people in their own houses." And I think this kind of equivocating, like, well, I understand your perspective, but listen, I think this kind of equivocation that people does is actually doing more harm than good, because it obfuscates the real truth. When I come on my show, it's raw, it's uncut, like the truth is. And I'm giving it to people. I'm delivering it to people, and they might not like it. Some people, I think it resonates very strongly, and they like that. The biggest problem is the people who are righteous in this country, I think, are too timid. They don't have the boldness. They don't have the courage to alienate people. Particularly with conservatives, they want to be liked by everybody. You ever notice this? Liberals don't care if conservatives like them. Conservatives really care that liberals like them. And they talk in such a way that they want liberals to like them, and they want women to like them. They want black people to like them. You hear conservatives talk about race, and they're tiptoeing around it, very delicate, walking on eggshells, because we don't want to offend the black people. And same thing with women. Well, we got to be delicate about it. We don't want to offend the women. And, I think a lot of this is because of the society that we live in, where you've got to sell products to a mass audience of people from different races and different genders. And we live in a mass democracy, and you've got to win all the votes. But me, as somebody that is strictly an entertainer and a truth teller, I'm really unconcerned with the sort of popularity of my personage or my views. I'm about going in there and saying what needs to be said. And if people are influenced by that, and they want to go and play that game and equivocate, and they want to say, well, I think what Nick is trying to say is, they can go and do that. But I'm really more, to me, my concern is just getting that message out there and getting the truth out there. And people should.
So this is essentially an Alinskyite tactic. It's pick a target, freeze it, polarize it. Okay. So when he's saying like being scared of alienating people, there's certain people. Like, a definition becomes so wide and so broad that it no longer means anything. Like, you necessarily have to alienate people to have a carved out political identity. And even if it's people that are looking like they're trying to be on like your own side, but like, yes, they should be alienated. They go, that's not going, like, under no circumstance is what you're doing going to work. So it actually leads into what he said about Matt Walsh really well.
But also, optics frogging leaves things open to interpretation. You'll have people be like, well, what I think he really meant and what he was really trying to say. No. You're just encouraging vagueness and confusion and ambivalence, because it's a lie.
Which the Moos love, because they can do a really fun song and dance where they'll present a concept, and then it's up to the audience, because they'll poison the well, present a concept, and then obviously the audience is going to think this thing, and then they never had to say it, and they love plausible deniability more than anything.
Yeah.
I think should be more concerned about telling the truth, being real, being raw, being who they are, than sort of overthinking it in this sort of self-conscious, like, how are we going to cleverly maneuver and strategize? Like, I'm just going on my show live every night and saying, listen, here's how it is. I'm independent. I'm a free thinker. I'm not paid by anybody. I don't have to worry about sponsors or whatever. And here's the real deal. And so that's my philosophy.
And fellas that have talked to me privately know that I'll say to them, if we're talking kind of for the first time, I'll interrupt them and go, don't preface anything. Just say it. You just say it. And now you are going to say things that are rhetorically defective if you don't think about it. Right?
Yeah.
If you don't consider it, you are going to say things that people don't want to hear in a way that they don't want to hear it. But I mean, look out there.
I mean, you can always say stuff and then be like, well, actually, I'm not 100% sure I agree with that. This is the other problem with all the optics frogging. It makes it harder for you even to determine your own position on things, right? You can't,
like, for example, William, right?
Yeah.
Really hard to put that guy on a map.
You can't just come out, right, and like be like Blair, and then be like, well, actually, I think that might have been a bit too harsh. I'm going to reconsider that, but that was a raw feeling in the moment. If you never truly express yourself, if you never say the truth, like you get whole societies run like this. And then what I always think about is that phrase. I forget who it was. Maybe someone in chat can tell me. If they can get you to believe absurdities, then they can get you to perform atrocities. I think about that a lot because it's true. If you, the way you get people to believe absurdities is to stop people from being like, that's BS, right? That's total crap. I'm not having that, right? Like you're stupid, right? You need pushback. Do we want to do this or have you got stuff?
Oh, well, no, you just found the when he was addressing Matt Walsh. I have it pulled up if I can just put it on.
Let me,
because that goes along with the optics essentially, but neither of them are being optical. Both of them are being serious, and I have to lean more toward Nick Fuentes with what he said to Matt Walsh about Israel, about how he's drawing a line. Do you have?
No, you've got the Walsh thing, I think.
Oh, sure. So Matt Walsh said, I think he's just going to say it. Okay.
So all Matt Walsh can do is give us these generic statements. Well, we really should focus on America. Well, I don't care about Israel. I think we should care about our border.
I think Matt Walsh said he's going to be aligning with anyone that's like essentially pro-natalist, right? It was pro-natalist.
So he had an exchange with Fuentes where Fuentes was saying that being against sort of Israel is the paramount issue of the time that should unite people. And Walsh came back and said, well, if someone was against Israel, but they were like pro-abortion and pro-child snuggling, would you like be down with them? And I don't know like what his response to that was, to be perfectly honest.
Yeah. So let me just pull this up real quick.
Okay.
Here we go. So Matt Walsh said, if we're going to have a conservative civil war, the dividing line should be those who believe in protecting and preserving marriage, yes, the family, sure, and unborn life versus those indifferent or opposed. You can't be a conservative in any meaningful sense if you don't want to conserve the bedrock of civilization itself. Now, I would say that's too vague because still, what are you conserving? What culture are you? Yeah. Every culture does that, right?
Yeah.
So that is really a paperwork American argument, right? So rightfully so, the dividing line should be Israel first or versus America first. So I would definitely agree with that. And then Matt Walsh says, if someone, if someone hates Israel, but also supports dismembering infants and letting gay couples purchase babies and dismantling marriage and the family, do you consider them an ally? And he goes, you just described Israel, bro. So I mean, you would combine both. You would say everything Matt Walsh said, and you also have to be America first, and I would say Israel critical.
Did Walsh reply to that devastating takedown?
He definitely shouldn't have. You didn't answer the question.
Oh, here we go.
Oh, it keeps going. Okay.
Keep going.
You said the dividing line in the conservative civil war should be gay adoption and abortion. Those issues should be a non-starter for the right. Yes, should be a non-starter for the right. The much more imminent and divisive question is whether our civilization will be dominated by organized mooery and its accomplices. Now he has to tap out. Oh my God, he kept going. Oh no, Matt, no, Matt, no, stop. Oh no. Matt Walsh said, I agree that those issues should be a non-starter on the right, but there are plenty of people who are avowedly opposed to Israel. Okay, this keeps going. I'm just going to listen to Nick Fuentes. This is going to keep going. Right.
Interesting. So he's like, I'm America first, but no.
It disperses at a certain point, right?
Okay.
Well, why don't you take that up with your boss? Why don't you take that up with your boss's corner office down the hall and to the left in Surfside, Florida, or whatever Jewish enclave? Why don't you take it up with your dual allegiance, Israel first, Jew boss, who has used his platform for 10 years to push this war? If you're so patriotic. If you're America first always, you're America first always, why don't you march your little faggot ass down to Ben Shapiro's office and tell him in person then? Give me a break. Don't insult our intelligence. That is the part that I can't stand, because you know what? Everybody's playing their part. The Israelis are playing their part. The Iranians are playing their part. To some extent, the people in the American government are playing their part. What I cannot suffer are people that are lying to our fucking face, traitors that say they're America first, and they're lying to our face.
Right, and then appealing to what Matt Walsh said, yeah, but they're pro their own family. Yeah, a Muslim is to take over the country. The birth rates of the Muslim community are great. They love family.
This is why culture on its own is not enough. Especially when it is defined in such broad terms.
Liberty. Hey, come on, dude. They have the liberty to have their culture liberty, okay?
You see the same thing in the UK, right? Like they literally invented a thing called like British values in order to like codify this like anti-culture. As long, and they don't even have to believe it. They just have to profess that they believe it. And then, total off, right? Go and like colonize Birmingham or whatever.
Yeah, so we can go back. My channel just suffered a couple of good shots to the balls in terms of in words that aren't supposed to be. I'm actually hesitant to watch the rest of this if you want to switch it back to the one you had with that guy. I think the point stands, all right?
So looking to the future, I might bump this up to like 1.5. Actually, this guy speaks really, really slowly.
Yeah.
I think we're going to see a new definition, bros. Extremist Christianity. What's extremist Christianity? Well, you're not loving Israel enough.
Follow the trend, right? It's extremist right winger. So then, how do we further polarize that? Extremist Christianity. Who is that? Anyone the moves determine. I mean, it really is just right. It's just right where it should be.
Because for the past 50 years and more, thinking Christians have been acknowledging the Jewish roots of our faith, the Jewishness of Jesus, and the significance of interfaith peace and relations.
Do these people even read the Bible?
Of course. Look at where he is.
I don't understand, right? Like, I be in church like every week, right? And it'll be like, oh yes, this week we're doing a sermon on how all the apostles like had to hide from the moose because they wanted to kill them all. Like, oh, that's quite interesting.
While on the other hand, a kind of twisted form of Christianity, still unfortunately prominent and powerful, has been busy sowing seeds of anti-Semitism and hatred of Jews. It still has plenty of combustible fuel in our culture, as we are now witnessing. I was once called a secret Jew.
I would have thought you'd be pleased, mate. Like, isn't that like every Christ cuck's like literal fantasy? Oh, thank you so much for noticing.
By some Christians to whom I had declined to lead a community prayer to make America a Christian nation.
Okay. Okay.
Now, I lay the blame for the MAGA, Nick Fuentes, Kanye West trio of ignorance. I blame it on religion, specifically extremist Christianity.
There we go. There we go. Extremist Christianity, i.e., presumably every form of Christianity, like up to like Vatican II or whatever. Don't worry about it.
And I'm going to call it that, extremist Christianity. Personally, I'm a conscientious objector to extremist Christianity. I think we're all conscientious objectors to extremist Christianity. Not signing up for weaponized religion. Oh, that warning cry, obey.
Oh, yeah, and then he just starts singing, right? not gonna like,
Hold on. It just reminds me of Jim Bob so much.
Yeah. Play the Jim Bob.
One of my just, I think, the most entertaining ortho bros. Okay, and he really tamps down on the gibberish, on the speaking in tongues of certain communities. So no, certain denominations.
Would it be funny to go to a Pentecostal church and just speak in sort of gibberating Italian, and it just confuses the crap out of them? They're all dancing. And I'm all, beneficio, they couldn't do anything. They actually couldn't.
So I noticed this very much with the orthos. It's like, you don't have anything morally to tell me I can't do that, because you don't have a standard for what gibberish, for what speaking in tongues is. They're really good at honing on the fact that someone doesn't have a standard. So it's like, yeah, I'm just going to go and do this because what is the standard? What is telling me I can't do this is a very reoccurring theme.
A fettuccine, a cannellone, eh?
I know, but you can tell he's being funny because it actually makes him mad. It's like when I'll get really funny sometimes because I'm actually mad and it comes out as humor. You can tell that he thinks the speaking in tongues is like so sacrilegious.
Oh, it is.
Release it.
That's anger. Mad.
They're like, is he trolling us? Nope. Breaks out the accordion, flips a tablecloth, like the flip, covers a nearby chair with it, sets up a nice wine, Chianti with a carafe with some bread. And he's like, and they're like, dude, you got to leave. This is serious. We're doing real speaking in tongues here. Like, so am I.
That is legitimate orthodox right-wing comedy. That could have been told on a stage where, hey, we're doing serious talking in tongues here. That's their actual argument, dude. That fucking kills me every time.
This is, I mean, heresy everywhere, man.
It's a very dangerous thing that I'm about to say now, but since I'm a bit dangerous, I'm of the opinion that we need a third testament.
Okay.
Man
the Bible has become problematic.
It's become problematic.
It's become problematic. All of a sudden, a human thinks the Bible's problematic. Oh, dude, God's shaking in his boots right now. He's like, oh, a human finds it problematic? What am I going to do?
Ardy, a black woman is speaking.
My bad,
right? I don't want to hear it. I don't want to hear your, like, white supreme pizzas.
Hold on. Let me just stop reading the Bible and listen to her. Please continue.
Slaves, obey your masters as you do the Lord. It's a text. Let the women keep silent in the churches. And if they have any questions, let them ask their husbands at home. Now,
And why would they say that? Are you about to prove this point?
I'm a believer. My whole heart. I trust God with my whole heart. I wake up in the morning talking to God and God talking to me.
I love that.
Are you sure that's God you're talking to? I mean,
yeah, she was talking to God, and God was like, "Forget that shit I told that guy to write down. Listen to me now." Yeah, that's how God comes to you.
I am completely frustrated with the ways in which the text speaks to the kind of vitriolic God that makes those kinds of things. And people will say, well, it's in the book. And I said, then we need to pour that page out.
Ah, I see. Right.
God's a pussy, right? God's always nice, never mean, never stinky. Just lets you walk all over him. That's God, right? That's the powerful God you pray to.
We need a strong black woman Bible with like all the naughty
Very
parts
short hair
removed. Yeah, huh?
They say, well, you can't do it. It's the word of God. I said, no, it's words about God. Come on now. But
Oh
God.
my
No,
God!
it is not the word
dude.
of God.
Okay.
What's the verse where we should chain them to a radiator? Is there a verse that says that? Because I like that verse. My word. The perfect example of why that you should have ran that by your husband, lady. Okay. By the look of that haircut, not very husband focused, I would guess. All right.
You've got a clip, haven't you? Something.
I got a little bit.
Play after this.
A little bit I could throw at you. So I thought this is just precious. Okay. This has been shown before on the stream, but I want to show it in conjunction with something else. Now, as we know, the Moos will say, hey, we're responsible for all that horrific lefty stuff that James Lindsay talks about. It was terrible for America and liberty. Okay. That was the Moos that did that. So let me give you that right now.
The thing that makes this so appalling is that Jews built the left in this country. We built the labor movement. We broke the New Deal. 70% of the lawyers who worked on civil rights cases were Jews. We've been at the forefront.
Of course, James Lindsay, I imagine, would say, wasn't all of them, though, was it? That's the only defense they ever have.
Yeah, exactly.
Liberal and leftist issue in this country, the absolute chutzpah of saying, you're not welcome here. You know what it reminds me of? When they banned smoking in bars. I was a smoker.
That's nice, lady. But, you know, sometimes I like how the Moos, you know, you should listen to a man speak instead of a woman. Okay.
Uh-huh.
Now, this guy, not just a regular guy. I mean, he talked to Tommy Robinson, I believe. I think he said something really right.
Yeah, this is Rabbi Buckley.
There we go.
Do you not know? I suppose they all look the same to you, Ardy. This is very antiseptic.
Hey, Fist, shut up. A rabbi is speaking. Okay. Let's hear him cook right now.
But there's another side to it, which is something that I don't know if you're going to be comfortable.
Mind you, he's talking about the pistachio himself. Okay.
Talking about, but he's also angry at the leftiness of American Jewry. He's angry at progressiveness, which has brought in all the gay movement, the LGBT movement. The Jews have led all that stuff, and the Hollywood, which has sown a lot of immorality, a lot of stuff that Jewish people do bring. See, the real truth is, you and I were red. If we were states, if we were American states, we're red state guys. Okay. And so many of our, basically in the three big ones.
Do you like how he says that when we're playing the imaginary game that we created in politics? Like, yeah, for example, for the Goy, okay, we're like red. That's how I interpret that.
It's just Bolshevism versus Zionism the whole way down. I swear, like it hasn't changed for like, I don't know, a century. It's just the Bolsheviks on the left and the Zionists on the right.
The only way it's changed is that it's gayer. Aside from that, it's identical.
Yeah.
Bible, family, nationalism, defense, we're red the way we look at things, okay? But to deny that the Jewish people have a strong blue streak, and in America, bluer than red, and that all the progressive organizations are all run by Jews or have Jewish people, or have Jewish money, to deny that Soros has a huge impact on this world and has a huge impact on the American agenda, to deny that these things exist, and that he's saying you're taking our country in a way that is not its natural way.
Okay, I'm listening, Rabbi.
This seems very anti-citrus. Ardy, is it one of those things where it's okay for him to say it because of the funny hat?
It's okay for me to listen to him say it, definitely, no matter what fucking hat he's wearing. I'll fucking listen.
There is an argument to be made there. Hitler made the same argument. He was very concerned about communism. And he wasn't wrong that the Jews were the leaders of the communist movement. They took over the Soviet Union. It was many ways a Jewish thing.
Now, fellas, as I have said in the video that I just released today about Stephen Crowder talking to Jillian Michaels. I've been saying you got to start with anti-communism, and the person has to be fully on board with anti-communism before you then transition to the moo Q, okay? And that is what Andrew Wilson and Stephen Crowder, their message discipline is getting really good. Do you got anything before I start to go into this?
Yeah, I just wanted to play like a little bit from this, play this before, but just to really ram this point home.
That they're saying.
This is from the World Mooish Congress, okay, which used to be the World Zionist Congress. They've been around for like forever, okay?
Yeah, and this is what I was saying on stream, where me and Fist show them saying these things in their own words. Whenever you hear a Moo talk about something, it's their or James Lindsay, same thing. It's their characterization of their opposition, right? They can't actually show what their opposition is saying. Meanwhile, we show what our opposition says, institutionally backed, by the way.
And this is one of the things that annoys the fuck out of me about Lindsay, right? The way he presents it is like, you know, oh, you have to have some like weird Gnostic awakening, right? And you've got to go to the lodge and study for 5 years and get 33 degrees in order to like be awoken to this critical consciousnness. No, you don't. You just have to listen to literally what they're saying. It's so freaking weird. It's like, oh, these people are powerless. No, they're not. They have organizations that have been around for like hundreds of years. They have like incredible influence in like politics and the media and all this kind of like stuff. And then you just look at
several countries around the world, by the way. When you're saying that, you mean globally.
You just look at what they say.
I am Jewish and proud because Jews have always done what's right. We've led the fight for gay rights. Harvey Milk fought to ban discrimination based on sexual orientation. Eddie Windsor was a leader in the fight for marriage equality. Miriam Ben Shalom challenged the ban on gay people serving in the military. We've helped lead the fight for racial justice. Our rabbis were BFFs with MLK. Together with Black leaders, Jews helped to establish over 20 HBCUs. During the Civil Rights Movement, Jews were disproportionately involved in the protests. We've led the fight for women's rights, for equal pay and the right to choose, and against discrimination in the workplace. Jews were also among the first on the ground in Turkey, Ukraine, and Haiti. In Judaism, when it comes to helping others, no action is too big or too small. The Jewish principle of Tikkun Olam tells us that we have the power to change the world, and there are so many ways to do that. And this is why I am Jewish and proud.
Dude, I am getting so many miles out of Tikkun Olam. So here's what I love about it. It's so being Mooish is so general and so vague that I can always find a way for Grok to be like, yeah, that's Mooish. Okay. It is. I'm getting so many miles out of the Tikkun Olam. I did it with trans kids. They're like, yeah, that completely aligns with it. Yes.
What I find most infuriating about this framing is they're always like, you know, oh, we made it better, but you broke it. Yeah, we made it better. You made it worse.
It's like getting a nose job. It's like,
you know,
Laura Loomer getting a nose job. You got to break it to make it better, you know?
And this concept of, oh, we made it better for everybody. No, you just made it better for yourself, right? But they assume that they are the universal people, right? That like whatever they do is like, you know, good for, well, I mean, that's what they say.
It's not narcissism. Narcissism is just used to describe people that are emulating moos. The level at which they are narcissistic is in a category above narcissism, which is just called moodyism. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
It is. Yeah.
Do we have more, or should we go on to Wilson and?
I can carry us for a little bit, bud.
Okay. Let's do super chats.
Oh sure.
Lenny Grad for $5. Imagine if the other side could also ban vile ideas on a whim.
Only one way, only one direction. Sorry, bud.
Very anti-citrus, Lenny.
If you're looking for a fair game, might I recommend checkers or chess?
Agile Walrus, 5 months membership. Thank you very much, mate. Like the stream, fellas.
Very good point. Thank you.
Finishing for $10.
Hey yo! Hey yo!
Message heresy to chat. God bless. It's a bit up. I can't figure out which it is. Something about. Here we go. Couching your language is the same as watching your wife get railed. New rule: no couch, no chair.
See, he didn't feel like he's all right. He's got a wife and kid. He doesn't have time to try and get around YouTube's Algorithm. Post that, right?
Agile Walrus for 5. Loonies, thank you.
Rav?
Every time I hear these Protestants yap, I slowly turn into the Dinkelberg meme. I expect it's me gritting my teeth. Protestants. yeah, it's pretty
Now,
bad.
so that's why, okay, moo critical Catholics, moo critical Christians is what I'm going to mean by muscular Christianity. Because if you can't stand up to the moos and criticize the moos, okay, you are very likely, through our discernment, fellas, not 100%, very likely compromised from what we've seen.
Not only that, you're seriously editing the Bible, and
that's
kind of
your
important.
domain to say that. I can't say it. That's your department.
I got this for $10. Thank you very much, mate.
It was hilarious.
Paula White speaking in tongues sounds eerily similar to James Lindsay when he lays eyes on a fresh buffet. Yeah, that is true.
The Tasmanian devil.
It's it has caused like a bit of a furore a couple of times. His buffet behavior.
Instead of a tornado whirlwind, James Lindsay's so fat he just spins slowly like a planet. You know.
Deadpool Kid for $5. From trans candles to speaking pasta, and now Jillian Michaels oogly eyeing and creaming over Crowder. What's going on over here? Yeah, we've got.
Funny you should say that, DPK. Funny you should say that.
Torture Wyatt, 4 months membership. Thank you very much. Pookie 322. Then God said, "Coist be the whole way, whose chirp rings out no more." You heard?
That was the verse. I was thinking of something.
Thank you very much. Deadpool Kid for $5. Thank you. Okay. Moorish Woman and Rabbi, we did it all. Me, you're not helping your case here. They're really not. CSI for $10. Thank you very much, mate. I'm beginning to understand why women go out into the woods and scream. On an unrelated note, I've been given overtime again. You know the rules. Restart the stream, mate.
There are rules, okay? There are rules. We have to abide by them.
The ballad of the employee. Oh, bro. I hope your shift's going all right. CSI. And Lenny Grab for $5. But did she choose to have the power to change the world? Or was it chosen for her? See, asking the important questions.
That's right, fellas. James Lindsay said that the moos chose to be chosen.
Yes.
That is what he
that's right.
said. And it's a matter of public record because of this stream at this point, okay?
Yeah, they didn't even ask what was in the contract. They just signed it, sight unseen, which is weird behavior given the stereotype, but you know.
That's not how words work. You don't choose to be chosen. It's so mooey. It's incredible.
And Deep Come for $5. Thank you very much. Are you allowed kind of sister who don't need no man? Come get your sassy sister new worldwide version Bible. Only for the strong sisters out there. Black power. Thank you very much. Right, super chat's achieved. Let's go on. You got a thing.
Right? Okay, fellas. What you should know is that Andrew Wilson and Steven Crowder have been working together behind the scenes for maybe a year now. Okay, I don't know if Steven Crowder, what denomination he was of Christianity he's been a part of, but it seems like maybe Andrew Wilson's been like, "Hey, ortho bro, here. Let's talk. Let's chat. Let's get a strategy," because they're getting really good message discipline. Okay, we are going to go. This is going to connect to today's meat of the content. Okay. I just made a video on this today because this is a liberal lesbian, Jillian Michaels, who, you know, used to be boner fuel 15 years ago. She made like workout videos and whatnot. I think she's a late in life lesbian, I've been told. So I need you to see how the tides are turning right now. Okay. This was very uncomfortable for me to watch because Steven Crowder has a Latina girlfriend right now, okay? This is uncomfortable to how much. I almost feel like the left is used to getting brainwashed, and so she can't just listen to what he's saying. She has to be completely all in on what he's saying. Check this out.
This is gonna make me shudder, isn't it?
It's it's real.
Like the silly horse shit that we have at this office, but we do our best to be accurate. You are right. White Christian males. And that
fellas, find a woman that looks at you the way that Jillian Michaels looks at Steven Crowder. Imagine if this was in a restaurant and you saw these two people talking, what you would think the type of relationship that they have.
That's why when we first talked about, I asked about feminism. Feminism is Marxism.
Look at this
And
book!
let me get this out before I address that point. Now we've seen a lot of anti-Semitism. By the way, really, are you doing that when you're by yourself? It'd be like me walking out with my balls painted like a bumblebee, dangling from my jeans, saying, I just did this for me. This makes me feel sexy. Why are you looking at it? It's absurd. You don't do it for yourself. It is designed to attract a man. You just don't want to be honest about it because G-Com boss babe doesn't need to garner a valid opinion from anyone else. Isn't that silly? I wear this for myself. Really? Let's big brother your house for a couple of weeks. How much you want to bet you're in sweats immediately eating from the pint of ice cream? Not you specifically.
This is like you and your girl in the beginning of the relationship, right?
The
like,
horror.
This is over the top, the horror.
The horror. Oh, mate, is he going to give me nightmares? I mean, oh, wait, hang on. Like,
let's just be honest about it.
Our feelings for each other.
Oh, my God. Oh, God. I hate to say, I hope this doesn't offend you, but I happen to adore you.
That is so uncomfortable. That is genuinely uncomfortable. I hope this doesn't offend you, but I adore you. Is now getting weird.
Doesn't offend me at
which
all.
I'm sure is so I don't know. I hope
she can't even find the words to say to him. like, this feels like a movie thing, doesn't it?
Is this like what happens when like you're down to your like last 20 eggs and your body starts being like eject.
Dude, she has she abducted some Haitians and they're her adopted children. She did the whole thing. Okay, so she said to resist. Yes, she has had to resist these feelings for a long time, and let's see how they come out.
that's not offensive.
Why would it be offensive?
I don't know.
I'm one step away from turning you straight. That's a compliment.
One step away from turning her straight. Okay, which is a joke, and then you move on. Okay.
Wait. Where's the? Oh my God. Where's the vomiting? Dude. Why? Why are you torturing me?
I would have said that. I would have if I were getting glazed that much by a lesbo. I'm going there definitely. How much she's been glazing. I easily would have said that. Now, what she says in return is even more uncomfortable.
There was a man, I'm telling you, it would absolutely be you. And I wouldn't even be upset about the my woman thing. I would absolutely embrace it. I might tattoo it right here, my woman.
I would get my woman tattooed on me. I would get your ownership of me tattooed on my body. I would stop laughing and go, because now you seem like you want it as the guy he's married. Or he's with a Latina, a jealous Latina too.
I'm gonna need to wash my eyes with holy water after this. Like, what the hell?
Back ass cheek, although I don't know.
That's where I am.
Okay.
I'll take a little homeschool weirdness over some kid walking in a furry outfit.
Like if a woman I've had women laugh at what I'm saying, and I go, "Oh, okay, I'm in. I'm set to go." Only men find me this funny. If a woman finds me that funny, in her mind, she's determined he can come inside. Yeah, that's it.
So desperate.
You ever get the go ahead from a woman like that, and you're like, yeah, okay. All I have to do is just not fuck anything up. All I gotta do is just keep doing what I'm doing. A woman will just decide that, yep, that guy tonight.
Yep.
I'll do.
Yep.
Yeah, she's already made the decision.
No,
Which, by the way, is not.
But this is different because it's like it's also layered with a whole heaping of I don't know, desperate insecurity or something. Oh God.
Christo said, "Can we tattoo a number?"
Right.
It happens at every public school in America, and we have to validate it. All right, I've made my choice.
Okay, Steven Crowder, you're magnificent. Where can people find you?
Yeah, I forgot to play. Rumble, obviously, people can watch the.
Lady, chill. Okay, so that was Jillian Michaels talking to Steven Crowder. Now,
yeah. Thanks for that. I need eye bleach now. Oh, you bastard! What you submitted me?
I just released that video today. All right, go check it out on my channel. So, but before Andrew Wilson, Steven Crowder talked to Jillian Michaels. Then Andrew Wilson talked to her, and then Stephen Crowder just talked to her a second time. Okay. And so now we're going to watch Andrew Wilson talk to her because their messaging discipline is very, very good. We go back to feminism, which is Marxism. So you got to get them on board, the liberals, with anti-communism, because communists hate liberals. Hassan Piker says he hates liberals. So this is really the starting point before you can even one day breach. Maybe you just keep saying some mooish names that are communist, really just soften them up a little bit. But Andrew Wilson, here we go.
Is it true that men and women are actually equal? And so from the Christian view, in my view, the answer is no. We're ontologically equal. So what that means is like, I think that you have the same value in the spirit of God as I do. Okay. But I don't think that men and women have the same material value or impact on the world. They have completely different impacts on the world. For instance, women are the only people who can give birth. Men can't do that. Okay, they can't. They can't. And so, since they're the only ones who could do that, you would think that you would structure society in such a way that it was the most conducive to women doing that because they're the only ones who can. And you would think you would structure society towards men doing the things which only men can. Now, generally, you're going to find that in oil rigging and construction and these horrible jobs where the death rates and mortality rates are just over the top. Female deaths in the workplace account for almost none of them because they don't do any of those horrendously stressful and over the top jobs. They just don't. They're not equipped for that. That's not their thing. So what Stephen's doing is he's drawing a parallel to kind of show you this. He's saying, if it's the case,
they do this tag team thing where it's two different people. It's almost like co-parenting in a sense. Okay. Here's what Stephen means when he says that, in case that didn't work. So we have two different approaches of explaining the same concept.
So do you know that Wilson and Crowder have been working together, or do you just
100%.
think this because of the
Public
messaging
knowledge.
discipline?
No, that's public knowledge. Yeah.
Right.
that men can be drafted, right, and sent to war, and every man must sign up for the draft, so they all have the potential to go to war. Then why can women who can't be drafted vote to send men to war? Isn't that fundamentally unfair?
Because oftentimes the argument that a liberal will use, well, it's my body, my choice. Why do men get to vote on it? And then all he has to do is go, oh, well, let's find all the situations where women can vote on shit that men do that the women don't do.
No, there's a deeper argument lurking behind this that I have heard ad nauseum, which is that if you had a government entirely composed of women, there would be no war, which is like honestly the most retarded thing like I've ever heard in my life. Because as you point out, they'll just vote to send a bunch of men off to war. They're not going to be the ones fighting it. I mean, some of the most rabid people in the EU, right, the anti-Russia people who are like pushing for war with Russia are women. Ursula von der Leyen, Kaja Kallas. Like the problem with women in these positions of power is that they do this thing where they're like, oh, I don't like that. We have to eradicate it. They seem much worse at doing that whole trade-off thinking that is essential in politics.
I view it irresponsible to not bring this up. I've had to live with girlfriends, okay? You all can only imagine what that was like, okay? I've lived with girlfriends. So now there would be times where I could tell that they were on their period, okay?
Yep.
And I noticed their behavior was different. And they would start, bitching at me, start to talk to me a certain way. I would say the things I normally say. All of a sudden, they'd be irritable. And I go, sweetie, you leaking over there? You good? I think you might be on your period. It's a 5-hour fight. The next day they go, I in fact was on my period. And then the next month happens. And then the same thing happens. And it's just a 5-hour fight every month. And every single time they go the next day, I was on my period. How can you have a woman in charge where none of us can go, I think that's your period talking right now? Okay.
See, a sane woman knows this and can like account for it. Like they won't be like, oh my God, how dare you like say that? They'll be like, oh yeah, actually, like, you're probably right.
They're bizarre on their periods. That's the crazy thing. There's some women that are like 35 and they're still
birth control makes it a lot worse, by the way, right? Like this is another
extra
thing,
extra hormonal, right? Essentially gives you
yeah
full of hormones. Yeah.
Yeah. So I mean, this is one of the sort of things
actually,
lurking underneath that's never like talked about. Is like
one
hormonal
of
birth
them was
control.
on birth control.
Yeah,
interesting. That one was particularly spicy.
I was with this girl who went to some like weird, like, you know, one of those like centers, and the woman there advised her that she could just chain her meds together and not have a period for like 3 months, and that was like perfectly fine. And then when she like stopped, she'd just go like absolutely like ballistic, like the worst you've ever seen. Like,
Dude,
woof.
I knew a woman who had endometriosis. Okay, it's very painful.
Yep.
And it was a female doctor that was like, "Here, just take birth control, and you're supposed to take a week off, but just keep taking the shit. Don't even take a week off. Keep taking the birth control." That's what it's the advice that I get. And the woman essentially was like nauseous and throwing up. I think like her body constantly thought it was pregnant. There were so many fucking hormones in her body that she just started like fucking throwing up, because she was like, yeah. Oh, another woman was like, just pump yourself full of that shit, dude. Totally. Yeah. Unbelievable. Anyway, a slight change of pace and topic. We'll be talking about Andrew Wilson, talking to two kosher centrists. And Konstantin Kisin, you know, he's based when he's talking to, this is the point of the kosher centrist. If he's talking to like Destiny, someone that's like further left, more extreme, of course, those are easy debates to win with Destiny. Destiny's insane because this guy's reasonable. Konstantin Kisin's just a sensible guy. But then when he talks to Andrew, yep, go ahead.
You say that.
This is function politically.
He laughs as a reasonable guy, but I would dispute that. I think he's just doing liberal centrism, like, you know, Mooish liberal centrism, like again and again and again, always and forever.
He never has to deal with the liberal centrism because he can fly to different countries. You know, he has like a lot of freedom of movement, right?
Yeah,
making money, so he's fine. God knows what Francis Foster does. Hopefully, it's a really like nice cardboard box he lives in that Konstantin lets him have. Possibly some of his own possessions in there if he's lucky.
Francis was really nice when I met him.
He's a very nice guy.
Konstantin was like a total prick.
Okay, here we go.
And after a while, that picked up a little bit of steam. People started putting it on YouTube, and then the content became popularized. And here I am. Never thought in a million years I'd be an entertainer, and I never thought in a million years that I would be engaged in as many high-profile debates as I have been.
And why do you enjoy doing this? Because a lot of people
because I hate leftists. So, I mean,
I've been saying this to people that have known me for the past 10 years, that I hate leftists. It has been if you can see how my channel started, it's just how much I hate commies and leftists. Definitely. I completely identify with that. I knew something was wrong and I knew it was leftist, but I didn't have the language to explain it.
Yeah.
If you want me to be blunt.
Why do you hate leftists?
Because they're psychopaths who are going to destroy everything that I care about through suicidal empathy.
Do you mean progressives or do you mean leftists?
Both.
Like the entire left?
I don't. I consider the delineation of the threshold.
That is honestly the best one-line explanation for this, like I've heard in ages. Like, yeah, they are going to destroy. They are destroying everything. They are in the process of destroying everything, and because they can't be checked, they have no off switch. They have no limiting principles. They're just.
It's a little bit deeper than that. He makes it personal. Everything I love, which then opens up what is it that is important to you, right? So he specifically is everything I love, everything that I hold dear. So he actually personalizes the attack. It's an affront to him, and why it's so imminent because it's everything that he finds beauty in. They're destroying.
Minute.
Because?
Because when you really get into the granularity, it's all about ethics, and they don't have any. And so because there's no ethical foundation, all you're talking about is degrees of psychopathy.
What about people who just want like a little bit more wealth redistribution, but generally they love America? I mean, those people, they are decreasing in percentage on the left, but they do exist, right?
Why do they want it?
Because they think they have a different vision to the right of human nature.
Now, bless Konstantin's precious little heart, because he's actually going to try to answer questions he's never thought about on the fly. Konstantin is going to be answering honestly. Right? He hasn't really thought about these questions you don't think so?
I don't know. I'm suspicious. You might be right. I mean, there's no look. Wilson is completely correct here that the ethics do not permit any limiting principle, right?
Yeah.
When is enough wealth redistribution? You know, oh, a little bit more, right? And then a little bit more, and then a little bit more, right? Because what is the ideal that you are working towards? It's so easily hijacked. This is why, you know, like you like to say, you've got to be right wing, because you open the door to these motherfuckers and they're always like, oh, we just need a bit more wealth redistribution. And then you wind up like the UK, which has like a greater degree of wage compression than the goddamn USSR.
Well, and this is why Constantine tries to go, well, you mean leftist or progressive? It's like, what do you think they're progressing toward, Constantine? Hassan Piker, who calls himself a communist, the liberals call him a progressive, and he calls himself a progressive. So on the left, they're extremists. They still use progressive for themselves. They're still under the umbrella of their extremists in their party.
Look, they're the same thing, right? Like you can go back to the freaking 1800s in England, right? The Whigs, right? The Whig view of history, they call it the progressive view of history, right? That we are progressing, right? Like history always like goes forward. We are always progressing to some fucking like utopia. No, we're not. We are regressing. We are massively regressing. They were wrong.
Oh, did you get that from James Lindsay, who thought he was making that up, that the left is actually regressive? Is that where you got that from? He actually thinks he made it up.
Santa Maria.
Sorry, you were just feeling better. I had to drag you back down with the thought of James Lindsay. Let's continue.
And they think that a lot of things that happen to people in life are partly about luck and structures and stuff like that. So they think that, they think the right massively overestimates the consequences of agency. So the idea that sometimes, the caricature of the right would be, well, everyone gets what they deserve because it's a matter of your hard work and talent and application and whatever. And the left, the sensible left, I think, says, well, sure, but luck is a big part of it.
There is no sensible left. He talked to Destiny, who fights the commies and the socialists all the time. So that's like the moderate left.
Yeah, look, I just, someone said this in the chat.
Yeah.
Real progress is funny, good place to stop. Precisely. Where do you stop? They never ever define. I think this is also a very, very mooish way of like framing it, because they never seem to have an endpoint. Like, it's the negative utopia from, is it freaking Adorno? We'll know when we get to the utopia, because all of the things that we don't like will have been destroyed.
Well, the contrived centrism, surely there must be some decent people on the left are you talking about? This is what I said with BF Young. I'm like, who are the sane people that are Democrats on the left? How many times has Donald Trump had to disavow white nationalism? When has a Democrat ever had to disavow communism? And why doesn't the right utilize that and make them disavow
or just leftism in general? Right? When was the last time a Democrat said, we have gone far enough, we have moved far enough? It'll never happen, because the moving creates more problems, which you then have to like manage. It's a self-licking ice cream cone, right? You do the stuff, you create more problems, then those problems need more progressivism in order to be solved, which create more problems. Like, it's just, oh God.
You just gave James Lindsay an analogy lesson right there, okay? An analogy that actually made sense.
By the grace of God, we, therefore, if someone is struggling, not everyone is struggling because they didn't put in effort. Sometimes shit happens, people get sick, accidents happen, whatever. So we should look after people a little bit more than the people who want the lowest taxes possible. That would be the Steelman argument, I think.
Okay, so that makes sense. So the idea here is social safety nets, right?
Right.
Okay, so how come those aren't voluntary?
Well, probably because you can't achieve the level of redistribution you want without applying some level of force.
Interesting, because the entire idea of progressive liberalism,
the level of redistribution that you
want,
want. Like, who is this you that you're talking about, Constantine?
Well, in his defense, he's trying to give the Steelman opposition, right? So he should say what they want, but he said what you want. I'm going to try to Steelman him as best as I can.
All right. Because Christianity used to have a thing for this. It was called charity. It was a very, very big part of Christianity. They used to run hospitals. They used to run orphanages. They used to have like a whole thing about helping the poor. And it used to be like a huge part of society. But oh no, you have to have the government run it because, well, I don't know.
Dude, I don't know if you know this, but the level of abuse in foster care at state-run facilities is really, really bad.
Yeah.
It really ain't good.
Yeah.
Distribution you want without applying some level of force.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Because the entire idea of progressive liberalism is supposed to be voluntarism, and that the left-wing government does not force you or compel you to do anything.
No, but that's bullshit.
But that's the promise.
No, the point of government is to make people do shit they don't want to do.
Completely agree. But the promise of the leftists, the promise of the progressive, the reason they demand that we have a secular government and we can't move towards Christian ethics or Christian nationalism is because secularists are going to do what's fair. And what's fair is you can do whatever you want as long as you're not hurting anybody else. We're not going to force you to do anything. The evil Christian nationalists will. But here you just laid out a case for how it is that they're compelling me against my will to do various things.
Well, right. I mean, any government is about the. I mean, the thing that really defines a state is the legalized use of force. It's all about the
Totally
use of
agree.
force, right?
That's what the state is.
Yeah, of course. But see, I think if we want to have a discussion about progressives being idiots, like we're going to be on the same page with that one. But we were talking about distinction between.
Very reductive. It's not that they're idiots.
No.
No.
Kissen doesn't believe that progressives are idiots, right? He thinks the woke left are idiots. If you asked him about the progressive, Keystone projects, right? Like Moose being admitted to parliament, right? Like all of freedom of religion, all of these things, he would support it right up until 5 minutes ago when it went off the rails. And if they manage to pull it back, he will still support it up until it goes off the rails again, despite the fact that going off the rails is baked into the whole process.
You're making Francis sad over here. You happy? Proud of
What
yourself?
am I doing on this show?
I look so sad.
Oh my God.
The center left, I guess, and the progressives. And I was saying, isn't there quite a lot of reasonable people on the center left who would agree with us that the state is about shaping human behavior and making people do stuff, but what they want is well motivated and actually based on some rationale that we might agree or disagree, but is kind of logical, which is about a higher level of I don't believe in zero taxes and no government redistribution at all personally, right? So therefore it's just a matter of degrees. And it's about, is it 5% taxes or 20% taxes? But once you start getting into the high 80s, that's where I'm at. You know what I mean? Do you see what I'm getting at?
I told you.
So that's where I think
I fucking told you.
What?
He was all for this shit until 5 fucking minutes ago when it all went off the rails.
No, because he's reasonable. He disagrees with it once it's unreasonable. However, once it's unreasonable, you're facing the fucking wall, idiot. The whole point is to not let it get so. Now I don't agree because mass migration. Well, that's millions of illegals in my country, buddy.
Yeah. Look, he's fine though. So
times in these arguments, the existence of the reasonable center right and the reasonable center left gets lost because we're constantly arguing with the extremes on the other side.
Well,
is that fair?
Yeah, I guess, but maybe we can dive into semantics a bit.
If you want.
Okay. So when you say right or left, you agree with me that's dialectical?
What do you mean by dialectical?
Do you see how we're invoking Marxism again? It's dialectical.
The dialectic predates Marx, mate. It's a Moorish thing.
The way that he's using it, right? What James Lindsay would do here is start, massaging himself to talking about the dialectic, right?
Right.
Andrew Wilson and Stephen Crowder are constantly just engaging. It's actual praxis. It's actual application of these theories, which is what James Lindsay is terrified of.
To each other, you mean?
Well, not just that, but when we view politics in the paradigm in the United States, we view it through a dialectic that is dual. It's left, it's right. So even you said center left, that's plays within a dialectic, right? Yes, there's a sense.
This is why I'm saying with the Overton window, if you push it toward Christianity, I mean, technically it's right, but you don't even have to think of it as right?
You don't have to think of it politically. It's almost like I don't know, a third position.
Oh, whoa. Oh, watch out for that third rail, okay?
Sure, but it's still left or right. All right. So
well, there is it gets more. I don't mean to be pedantic either, but this is why it gets more difficult because someone could actually be in the center, meaning they have some center right opinions and some center left opinions that don't neatly align with either party. And I think the existence of those people is probably quite underestimated, even in a country as polarized as this one, just from talking to people.
Maybe.
Yeah. But dialectic, I think I agree.
Yeah. So there's a dialectic. So when we say left, what's the referent? And when we say right, what's the referent? Like, what are we referencing here?
Well, the position relative to the center.
Sure, maybe, but I mean, what is left and what is right politically? Is it social issues? Is it taxes? Is it?
Wow, another debate on what exactly is the left and the right wing. Man, this is so gripping. I've like never heard this before. Oh, just kill me.
Well, no. So Andrew Wilson is putting it on him to define something, right? And then when asked, he's able to immediately define it. So Andrew Wilson operates under, if I'm going to ask someone to define something, I either need to be able to immediately define it if that's put back upon me, or show that the lack of this definition is why we shouldn't even talk about it, right? He always puts himself in a position, as much as possible, in a win-win position.
Yep.
A mixture of both.
Mixture of both.
Okay, right. So I think that we can break it down further into pillars. So I think that these are philosophical positions, and people just don't realize it.
Mm-hmm.
When you're arguing with a guy like Destiny, the reason he's very frustrating for you to debate with, the reason that he wanted to bog things down into things like the most ridiculous thing in the world, though it's unprecedented. Everything's unprecedented. That's unprecedented, right? The whole idea there, and you pointed this out rightly, is, well, I guess words don't mean anything, right? We just use unprecedented, I guess, when we mean
to the commie, words don't have meaning, only purpose. Absolutely.
New. When we get down to the core, the pillar that holds up the belief of Destiny, what is it? What is the pillars that hold up the left? What is the philosophical underpinnings?
I don't know in his case. I think in his case, actually, the philosophical underpinning is people who don't agree with him are bad people, and therefore they need to be destroyed by any means necessary. I think that's it. So it's about power, really.
I think the idea, the philosophical underpinnings operate from the left-right dialectic. The left-wing pillar is based around anti-realism, anti-moralism. So that's why you end up with postmodernism and many of these other philosophies which come from left-wing liberalism. Those aren't coming from right.
No matter how much I've always thought I was on the left, I always had a sense of reality, is the best way I can explain it.
Yeah.
And I would encounter people like, I was on online dating apps, all right, at a certain point, and I hung out with a bitch that fucking didn't like believe time existed. And I was like, you are I didn't say this out loud. In my mind, I went, you are unfuckably stupid. And I just hung out with her for like 2 or 3 hours, and then she went home. I'm like, no.
Yeah. I've
got to that point, you know.
I've talked to Foids like that. It's like just insane.
Wingers, those are coming from left wingers. Right wingers are the reason that they're so much more associated with things like traditionalism or things like religion, this kind of thing, is because they view society as being duty bound, and progressives view everything through the prism of rights. So I have a right to do this.
I actually see a turn on my channel when I started viewing things through service and duty. Remember when I would say service and duty?
Yep.
An expectation of doing something, just because, you know, I don't just deserve to have this. I have to do something to maintain it, or even if not for myself, a duty to do something morally. So I'll like, you know, like with William, for example, or with like other content creators, like, why are you going after that person? It's like, I am seeing something. I feel as though I have a duty to comment it, regardless of the backlash I might get for certain takes on copulation between different types of people.
I have a right to do this. I have a right to do that. And the right is saying you have a duty to do this. You have a duty to do that. You have a duty. So this is where that dialectic really clashes. From Destiny's standpoint, there's no such thing as a moral fact. None. They don't exist. Everything is dependent upon stance. So if that's the case, you can't actually do anything immoral, which is why he does so many things which are immoral, right? Because from his perspective, it's just dependent on stance.
Who are the OG not shifting moral people?
Yeah.
You know, he's been to Israel, right? He did a whole Israel sweet press tour. This is probably like maybe less than a year after October 7th.
Wait.
Destiny did.
Andrew Wilson. Oh, Destiny did.
Destiny,
oh, yeah. Well, that makes sense. I'm sure he had a banging old time in the flesh pits of Tel Aviv.
Right to saying there's universality with morality. It's not just stance dependent. It's stance independent. The reason that they get so upset with the left is because they perceive them as doing things which are horrendously immoral. But from the left stance, they're like, well, but it's all stance dependent. So I can't be doing anything immoral. And that's why the underpinnings for the kind of like philosophy.
And when he says stance dependent, he specifically means standpoint epistemology. I am this thing, so it means I automatically know this thing.
Yeah, but functionally speaking, right? It just means whatever they define it as at the time. Like it just
that's why I hate the definitions game.
Yeah. It just, you know, it's just you just do whatever the hell you want. as much as you can get away with all the time because my feelings, really.
Okay, so you don't think a woman is whatever I say woman is? Hey, Fist, why don't you define what a chair is? And then what if I give you examples that go outside of your definition of it? Like, this is a game that a 7-year-old plays. It's so emotionally underdeveloped. It causes you to make yourself retarded to be on the left.
Yeah.
Philosophical pillars, they don't align, and why we're constantly clashing. The right considers these people complete immoral degenerates, and from their view, they are. The left, on the other hand, sees that as being totalitarian and evil, and that they're there to control, destroy, oppress. Because from their view, what could they be doing immoral if everything which is moral is dependent on their own stance?
Right. Which I think is an accurate description of what happens when the right looks at the extremes of the left and the left looks at the extremes of the right. But what I'm trying to get...
I hate this. As if it's look at the extremes of the left nowadays and look at the extremes of the right nowadays. I would rather a peaceful Nutzi than a violent, tolerant person. Okay.
Yeah.
I've been saying that for years now. That equivocation right there, it's starting to really piss me off about people that are trying to be centrist. Yeah, there's extremism on both sides. It's like, it's like what you said with the UK. If you looked out your window, do you remember 2020? What are you talking about?
Yeah, exactly.
And with you, first of all, because it's interesting to me, because our country, hard as it is to believe, if you look at social media, is not nearly as divided as the US, right? Like the binariness of the US is kind of weird for us a little bit coming from the UK. So I guess to me, it's always weird when people...
Pause it.
I was
gonna say, yeah.
I would dispute that. I would dispute that. I think what has happened is there's been more balkanization in the UK, number one, and in urban areas, there's less division because the left has just won totally.
Well, is the news going to report on? Is the BBC going to report on it?
Yeah, so it's not like in the States, right, where you've got people living side by side, okay, and you've got like one house with one of those like weird "in this house we believe" signs, and then next to it you've got like a house with an American
flag. Is that what we are to you?
you guys are like two different countries sharing space. I've thought this.
Right.
I've thought about this for like ages. What kind of American are you? As the meme goes. No, I think the UK is in fact much more highly polarized than generally it's led on. I think the government is just doing everything it can to try and suppress this fact.
Knowledge, but I don't want to impose my view because Americans know their country better than I do. It's weird to me how little people give faith to the other side, and I see this on the left and I see this on the right. Whereas my model,
in no universe, like this is well known at this point, where the right understands the left way better than the left understands the right. I can't even believe this is a conversation in 2026.
Yeah, because and like I was thinking about this the other day, right? This is one of the things that, again, to reference Lindsay, this idea that there is no such thing as oppression, or I guess he wouldn't define it that way if you were talking about the Moos, right? The Moos know oppression, right? The whites do not. Okay. But the thing is, I think it was the blacks, or possibly the Moos, who originally surfaced this point that you do get to know your oppressor very, very well, actually, right? Much better. Like the slave knows the master much better than the master knows the slave.
Okay.
Because the slave has to deal with like the master's whims. He has to know his routine. He has to because some of this can be like life or death stuff, right? Like if the master comes home drunk and he's in a beaten mood, right? You best know like how to skedaddle. You best know how to like read the signs, if you get what I'm saying.
Oh, definitely.
So I think one of the reasons why the right knows the left so well at this point is because they have been living under the heel of the left for so long. And whilst at the same time, of course, the left is going around saying like, oh, we're not oppressing you. It's just justice. It's just accountability, right? Like you deserve it, right? Don't you know you did a slavery and you did a Holly and you did a this and you did a that. I think that's one of the reasons like the right has gotten to study sort of every hideous manifestation of leftism.
Because we actually have to deal with it. But also what I've been saying for a while, This first occurred to me maybe like 7 or 8 years ago, where I was like, okay, so I've had a bad boss, and me and the other employees, the other employ him, in like 3 to 6 months would have like jokes about the boss and make fun of the boss behind the boss's back. You're telling me that we've oppressed black people for 400 years and the only jokes they have is that we can't dance and like mayonnaise? 400 years of a shitty boss, and that's all. I always looked at everything through humor. I'm like, and you're not even funny about it at all that long? So we both came to a similar conclusion, 2 different epistemologies, but yours I like a lot more than mine.
For the world is there's like really good people within the 80% middle, and then there's pretty out there people in the extremes. And what we see on the internet is those people arguing and pretending they represent the entire movement. And then the other side is incentivized to argue as if they represent the entire movement as well. Does that make sense?
Of course.
Right.
Sure. I understand what you're saying, and that sells, right? It sells to be on that extremist end.
Right.
That's what makes it fun. It makes it fun to watch people who come in and they say ridiculous over the top things, and then everyone's arguing, right?
Yeah.
That's part of human nature. They want the fun. However, I do think that people are more divided than you think. I think that there's the way that we operate in public and survival mode.
Yeah, especially when people aren't allowed to express their disagreement, right?
Exactly. And this is the reason why the politicians, they go on Twitter and they're like, "Oh my God, everyone's so angry, it's so toxic." No. That's just how people feel. In real life, you do not associate with the employee. You do not associate with the downtrodden, right? You don't have any contact with these people. You just exist in your little ivory tower, looking down and being like, "Oh, everything's in my mind, it was real." When you go on Twitter, these people have a way of actually communicating with you, and they are goddamn pissed off, but they don't want to like deal with that. So they're like, "Oh, it's bots. Oh, it's it's so
well,
tiresome."
this is why I've always been drawn to communicating with people on the internet, no matter how vicious they are, because they mean it.
Yeah.
Because they're being honest. That's how much I value honesty. Like, even though I made like an antagonistic video, about race because I'm getting the real opinion. Also, if you piss a person off and they're miles away from you, they're going to tell you really what they think. But then I can operate with that, as opposed to whatever in person being, polite and, well, I don't want to say this, and preface it and couch it. Like, no, just give me the real stuff. What if I piss you off first? There's the real stuff. Works every time. Love it.
Mm-hmm.
Love honesty in all of its forms.
We'll be pretty nice to each other. Good morning. How are you? No one's going to like run you off the road because you're a Democrat. They might run you off the road if you're a Trump supporter and you have that stare. But for the most part, we'll treat each other fairly well. But when you start to get to the underpinnings of what people actually believe, there's a lot more hatred here than you think on both sides. And it's even from the center. It becomes apparent once you start to get to the underpinnings of the pillars which hold up people's beliefs.
Do you think that's kind of why there used to be a rule that you don't talk about religion and politics at the table? Because when you start digging, like if you really pursue people's beliefs to the very ends of the earth, you do find out like people do fundamentally disagree because they have a different philosophical view. But if we don't constantly talk about this stuff, it's actually easier to get on with each other.
It's true.
Yeah.
It's true. Well, that used to be a thing in the workplace, and it used to be a thing, like you said, around the dinner table with family.
Allow us to peruse along right now, as we are professionals, and we have.
I mean, look, this is the paradox of white lies. Okay, so you get all these people. They're like, look, you can't tell the truth all the time, right? Like, what about optics, figging, right? Like, what about making like you don't want to hurt people's feelings? And no.
Yeah.
The problem is that all of these white lies build up. Now, okay, you can sort of you can take the Christian position, which is okay, you don't lie, but you don't say it either, right? You keep your mouth shut, basically.
Yeah.
Okay, that's like one thing. But when you actively start lying to people, white lies. Okay, oh, they're white lies. They don't hurt anyone. Yeah, they do. They build up, right? Like a crust, and before you know it, like years later, you're in this position where the truth has diverged so far from the lie that the only way to bring it back to reality would be to like basically shatter the entire thing. And I think this is sort of where we're at as a society.
Yes, and the issue is almost a sunk cost fallacy. And this is what a lot of people learn the hard way in relationships, where you're like, shit, I should have set this expectation from the beginning, but I didn't say anything. and it's been a year and I never told this person. Right?
Yeah, actually, relationships are a great example of this because people do that all the goddamn time.
Yep.
Yeah.
Things they say and what they don't mean by the things they say. The reason I think I got very popular on the right is because one of the things I've always done is sit down and make my opposition actually explain what they mean and why they mean it before I will ever even dive into a conversation with them.
And this is like why people like his content so much. He'll throw the debate out the window if his interlocutor doesn't say what they're talking about, because then what's the point in talking? And so he will have a 2-hour debate about a definition. No problem, dude. His TikTok invasion stuff is behind a paywall, and I completely see why.
Yeah. No, he's a very good debater. Like, and
No,
one of the ways you can tell is that. So I don't know if you got the one where he's like saying like women can't vote. I've got like a thread from like this UK feminist.
That'll be at the end, yeah.
Right, being like, and they don't really have an argument, so they just start saying like, oh well, you know, you haven't lived a perfect life. Like, you know, they bring up like his marriage and stuff like that. If the arguments were like terrible, they wouldn't have to bring up his like personal life. They just refute it.
I know, but like, I think that makes his argument stronger. That it wasn't a perfect relationship. That two people actually had to work really hard to be in that relationship. Honestly, one of the more moving things I've ever heard is when Rachel said to him, you know, you're too good for me. I have 2 failed relationships with 2 kids that aren't, you know what, this shouldn't even be your problem. I'm not worthy of you. And he was like, I don't agree.
Yeah.
And fucking stuck with her, dude. That's way more difficult than a conventional Christian relationship. Okay? And you don't do that shit as a fucking atheist, I'll tell you that much.
Well, he clearly loves her.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, oh my God. Like, he should have like kicked her to the curb and been like, yeah, you're not white enough. You're not like, you know,
Rachel, you heard it from Fist. Rachel Wilson isn't white enough. Okay.
I mean, you know what I mean, right? Like,
I know. I'm just
like people be swimming in a dating pool, right? That's like half an inch shallow. Right, where like, you know, it's like you're swimming in, you're fishing in a pond that's nearly like out of fish, or most of the fish are diseased and mutant, right? And you're still like pulling them up, being like, no, that one's like not 100% perfect. Throw it back. Like, don't make the perfect the enemy of the good, is what I'm trying to get at.
Yeah, and he's a great example of that.
Reason for that is because I want to know what their worldview is. What is it that you're interpreting different here than me? And that's where you start to actually have a debate about. So debates are about worldviews. Conversations are about worldviews, right? If we have completely different understandings or interpretations, how do we even speak?
But there's also a level of deception we're talking about here, because if you take an ideology like Nazism, there's tenets to it. Sure. And if you then go, well, you're a Nazi, but then you don't obey or follow any of the tenets, then that is fundamentally illogical.
I've had multiple debates with people on whether or not Donald Trump's a fascist, okay, from their worldview. See, it's simple. All you have to do is you take the historic prism of what fascism is. They'll admit, clearly he doesn't meet that. But he meets certain tenets, which we can say have overlap with fascism enough that
they brought this up with Umberto Eco's 14 Points of Fascism.
Oh, literally one of the worst things I've ever read.
And they love
it. The way like the midwits cling to it is like the way they freaking cling to Karl Popper, even though none of them have freaking read it, right?
Yeah, but someone said it. But this guy said it, and he lived under Mussolini, so he knows. Well, he was probably talking about Mussolini specifically. To answer your question, no. I haven't.
Have you ever read Umberto Eco's 14 Points of Fascism? It's fascism, by the way, right? It's like the overarching principles,
right,
that define fascism. The fucking problem is, right, that also defines like it's so vaguely defined. You could also use it to define Bolshevism, monarchism. Like it's just like,
well, it's ultra nationalism, okay? Which, by the way, no one has ever differentiated between regular nationalism and ultra nationalism. It just gets equivocated with any nationalism.
It's like just the most vapid shit you've ever heard. It's like stuff like, oh, you know, we define an in-group and an out-group. You know,
charismatic leader.
We have a charismatic leader. Like just all this, like just insanely like vague crap. Oh, I'm gonna have to look.
Yeah, and just like how James Lindsay is going to do 72 things you can do to change your life in his new book coming out in a year.
Lindsay's got to like nail his 72 theses to the wall of the Vatican with a cheeseburger and like hang a kipper on it, you know?
Jeremy Boring is like 18 things. Candace did. It's like, dude, have you read the Bible? Don't go more than 10. You can do Jordan Peterson and maybe do 12, dude. But the more you do, the more it cheapens each preceding rule, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Reach like a fascist minimum. Well, what the hell does that mean? Well, it just means that interpretively, from their kind of stance-dependent view, right, which means I made it up, this arbitrary metric, he meets it, therefore he is it. Now, unless you have some grounding which is objective, how do you argue with that? Well, you really can't, because what most political debating is it's taking a fact and then it's arguing about your feelings over that fact. That's 90% of what a political debate is. Here's a fact, and now let's argue our vibes. So unless there's some objective grounding that you have to tell them that they're wrong, right, it's actually very difficult to get the upper hand in a vibes debate, isn't it? So you really have to bring it back to not just facts, but foundation. They don't have any. They're more, this is why I hate them, because they're morally corrupt, ambiguous, no morality having scumbags. And that's what they want to do. They want.
How do you feel about some of the Christian denominations that disagree with Andrew Wilson saying he hates them, but he says he hates them, and you're not supposed to say that because you're not supposed to hate anybody? How do you feel? Because that's pushed me away from Christianity so much my entire life by being like, well, I don't think I could be a Christian because I don't talk, quote unquote, like a Christian. And Andrew Wilson seems to be redefining how a Christian can speak. You know
I mean, I would just go back to the way all the early church fathers were talking when the Second Temple got destroyed under Julian the Apostate. And they're all like, yeah, suck it, Moose. That's what you get. you killed Jesus. Suck it. That's what you get.
I mean, have you read that out loud on a stream at any point is what you're referencing?
I have, actually, as a matter of fact. You can find it on history. Which one is it? It's something the Mooish temple. It's one of the early ones.
Yeah, you're really narrowing it down.
Well, I don't know. I think it's like the first or second episode. I don't know. Like, check it out. It's on the playlist.
Link in the description.
Link in the description. That's right.
Do you
want me to show you the 14 points of fascism, by the way?
Yeah, and then we'll do Soupies for a little break.
Okay. So
God.
Eternal fascism. 14 ways of looking at a black shirt examines the core characteristics of fascism. Now, I just want to point out, right? Umberto Eco is not a political scientist. Like, he's just a writer. Okay. And he like wrote like Name of the Rose and like Foucault's Pendulum and all this. Like, and this is what happens when people who know nothing about politics are like, oh, I'm gonna like think different. Okay. So supposedly, right, these are all the points about fascism. And this is what you get, right, when you can't define anything. And Lindsay's going to run into the same problem.
I was just going to say he was a James Lindsay before his time, but less of a cow.
So you have the cult of tradition, characterized by cultural syncretism, even at the risk of internal contradiction. When all truth has already been revealed by tradition, no new learning can occur, only further interpretation and refinement.
Again, this is the way that they interpret this, is that all tradition is cult. Now, it's going to be the same thing with ultranationalism, the cult of tradition. Well, are there any traditions that you guys allow? Yes, either Native American traditions from thousands of years ago or stuff we just made up after 1948. Those are the only traditions that we're allowed to have.
I mean, is, seizing control of the economy, right, like to redistribute wealth by force. I mean, that's been around long enough to be a tradition by now. Surely. Like you notice, like, it's only tradition when people on the right do it or when it has anything to do with religion. When it's anything to do with communism, despite the fact that communism has now been around for like, oh my God, over 100 years, that's not tradition. That's totally different, right? Yeah. The rejection of modernism.
Oh, no.
You're rejecting the blessings of modernism. The cult of action for action's sake. So
the left never does that.
Yeah. So Echo's just talking about anti-intellectualism, which I presume he means like a proxy for the snazzies not being too keen on quote unquote intellectuals who are like, promoting all these new and awesome forms of degeneracy. Disagreement is treason. That's the left. Like what the fuck is it? Like this?
This is why even gays on the left started gays against groomers, the walk away campaign. They're like, these people will not allow you to disagree with them at all. It's a giant campaigns of people, a mass exodus of people leaving the left.
Yes, disagreement is treason. Of course, Vladimir Lenin, famous for allowing disagreement. The fear of difference. Again, this could just easily apply to the Bolsheviks or bloody anyone else. Appeal to a frustrated.
With Mao, it was the four pests, if you feel like it, right?
Yeah. Appeal to a frustrated middle class. What the fuck does that even mean?
This is how James Lindsay interprets things. What if there's a truth factor there? Can you do so with the apply this to the moos, okay? And you'll see it very quickly.
Obsession with a plot.
What anti-semanticism?
Yeah. What if there is a plot? Oh, no, there can't be a plot. Oh, that's a conspiracy theory, right? Presumably. Enemies are at the same time too strong and too weak. I will give him this one. I find this, but again, this isn't a fascist thing. You find this all the time. Like
they do this against the right all the time. The Groypers, watch out, they're terrifying, but also they're weak and in their basement.
They do it to Russia, for example. Okay, right? Like the Russians are on one hand, right? Like incredibly strong. They're gonna like march over Europe, and yet at the same time, like they're running out of munitions and they're like just completely pathetic. Pacifism is trafficking with the enemy because life is permanent warfare. That's the left as well.
Yeah, they make everything political. Do not be passive.
Contempt for the weak. I mean, I guess.
I guess they invert that. What about veneration for the weak? So now we just have that's communism instead of fascism?
Yeah. Everyone is educated to become a hero. Again, that's like a classic like left thing. Machismo.
Machismo.
Right? And this machismo. Okay, so this is the thing that they really don't like. You're gonna be like an actual man with muscles, and we're gonna not glorify homosexuality. And they'll be like, oh, but there's still homosexuals. That's fine. Could you just not like do it in the open?
Women and an intolerance and condemnation of non-standard sexual habits. That's one on someone gay.
Can someone look up whether like do an early life on Umberto Eco?
Yeah.
Selective populism. The people conceive monolithically have a common will. What, like Rousseau? Like that comes from fucking Jean-Jacques Rousseau. You fucking, God, fine, whatever. Right? The leader holds himself out as the interpreter of the popular will. What, like Stalin? You mean like, oh my God. And Newspeak.
Well,
Fascism employs and promotes an impoverished vocabulary in order to limit critical reasoning. Oh yeah, well the left would never
listen to a Hassan Piker stream. Yeah.
Oh God.
Very dumbed down.
Yeah.
Soupies.
Okay. Andrew Corrigan for $5. Thank you very much, mate. Oh, look at that profile pic.
Nice.
Proudly displaying the banner of Ingsoc. Double plus good, comrade. Double plus good. This is a good, thinkful duck speaker we have right here. Can't watch right now. Won't ask you to restart the stream. But if you could just not be funny for this one so I don't feel like I missed out, that'd be great. Sorry. Too late, mate. Too late.
I don't have that option. I'm never off the clock, unfortunately.
Jam for $50. Holy crap.
And ladies and gentlemen, just like that, out of the clear moo sky, we have our first Chad the Chad.
Now the Chad does what the Chad wants, and no one is stopping him because Chad does what Chad wants.
Thank you, Jim.
Another long day at the gas grape factory. Mate, there is a lot of demand for gas grape. I've got to say, right? I've got gas grape futures, and they're doing like really, really well. Can't wait to lose my employment spirit and get upgraded to my new, better unemployment soul. Could you restart the stream so I can have a taste of unemployment?
So, Fist actually said to me, he's like, I hope that guy really didn't leave his job. He actually said that on stream and he felt bad. He's like, no, dude, I don't want to actually have a say in that.
I hope it goes well for you, Jam. I hope it goes well. Deadpool Kid for $5. Crowder and Gillian Michaels, just two lesbians finding love. How romantic. See, I knew Crowder was a good lesbian.
He does have an affinity for dressing up like a broad, so I will grant you that.
That's a good point. Theodore McCarthy for $10. Thank you so much, mate. The female need for consensus leads to monkeys and exclusion. The male desire for hierarchy allows the defeated to remain in society, contribute, and even earn respect. Precisely. Wait, hang on. What else we got? Isaac for $5. Thank you, mate. My third leg rail position will give me mixed descendants. Ardy 2024. Sub Ardy and Fist. How are you? Great stream. I came late. Sorry. Great topic. Save the white race cars. Thank you very much, mate.
Well, we do have very resilient genes that have been around for thousands of years. Okay.
Yeah, I don't want
to forget that.
I have been stress testing my genes rather vigorously. Slurms for $5. She didn't think time existed, so she was African. Yes, was this Freud?
No, she was scrawny and looked like a bird, so that also helped with calling it an early night.
So that's always a warning sign. Jam again for another $5. Thank you, mate. My favorite thing about the chair gotcha is the fact they can describe how something isn't a chair. Proves the point that chairs are a set concept.
Oh, very nice.
Very, very nice. And White's Torch for $5. Thank you, mate. Psalm 139:22. Quote, I have hated them with perfect hatred. They were counted my enemies. So
what, dude? See, only the ortho bros, all of the newer evangelicals and whatnot, it really, it's way more. I'm telling you, dude, go to liturgy. Go to liturgy, I say to myself, okay?
Yes, yes. Maybe you should, Ardy. I hear it quite the time.
Stop bothering me. I get it. I know. I have to go.
No, I'm going to be a good Christian and just like lightly nudge you, and just annoy you eventually into it, just by being like nice. It's a terribly destructive strategy.
All right, we get him.
Yep, super chat's achieved.
All right, now we'll do a quick conversation about Destiny's wiener, and then we can move on.
Oh, must we? Ew, don't want to think about that.
It's for a good cause. It's an ortho bro. You can trust him.
Okay.
That this is a moral fact. Now, the left and progressives and atheists and secularists, they don't generally believe in those moral facts. They think that morality is a social construction that we make up, and it's societally dependent. There is no overarching like moral facts. The religious say that there are, that God gave us moral facts, and these are the moral ways in which you have to live your life. And so they're willing to enforce that. They're willing to enforce those moral facts, and so because for them not to do that is immoral, right? Allowing my society to run around and do immoral things, obviously I want to curtail that. The other side thinks that that's totalitarian though, right? That's the worldview divide. So the question is, how can you tell a person, how do you tell Destiny that it's immoral that he sucked 50 dicks? How do you do that? If it's the case that that's not a moral fact. How? Well, you can't. And that's where they live.
I love it when he does this, when he talks about something sexually explicit, but he's actually talking about it like, he's like, okay, so explain to me why it's immoral for Destiny to suck 50 dicks. It is a serious question.
Yeah.
Right.
And this is one of the reasons why the optics figging is the death, right? If you tried to make this point in a less harsh way, it would just be more easily disregarded.
Yes.
Like you need to state the truth and be like, extreme examples are actually really good for elucidating this thing. Like when he argues about, well, what's your moral argument against brother sister loving?
No, specifically two brothers, because brother sister could be a baby, and then you remove that, and then it's two brothers.
Yeah.
And so what I really like about Jim Bob is he uses absurdity comedically, okay? And then also Andrew Wilson uses absurdity philosophically, right? Because a lot of liberals and leftists, things are absurd, right? Everything's just absurd to them. It's just completely random. So it's really compelling to use some absurdity to get people to listen and to bring them over. It's worked for me immensely to bring me over to their side.
Yep.
Well, his sucking of dicks is irrelevant to me personally. He's perfectly entitled to suck as many dicks as he wants. I encourage him to do more.
Yeah, but why? Why is it that the this idea of like OnlyFans hookers and homosexual marriage and stuff like this? Why is that stuff we have to deal with again? Like why?
Why isn't it?
Well, see what I mean though.
Why isn't it?
Yeah.
Why don't we? That's all you got in the fucking gas tank, Constantine.
Yep. Yeah, that's literally the liberal position. You know, God.
Even that question, why isn't it? It's like that's not giving an accounting for a worldview. That's asking me to give an accounting for a worldview.
Yeah.
But the thing
you're insisting that there is a worldview that's correct,
sure,
right? And therefore, it's up to you to articulate why it is correct.
Sure. But when you say why isn't it,
it's a genuine question. I'm trying to probe your worldview. That's all.
And I'm going to walk you through it. If there are no moral facts, because I said so, that's why. And that's the failure of left-wing and progressive anti-realists. If there are no
great strategy that he always uses is using their anti-realist epistemology against them. Why should he have to defend it? Like, this is how I view it. You deserve his morals if you share his morals. If you don't share his morals, you deserve your morals. That seems just to me.
Yeah,
and that's how he handles these debates all the time.
Yeah.
Moral facts, and you ask me why it is that I should enforce my worldview, because I fucking want to. And there's no way for you to ever object against that. Any objection you have, which is stance dependent, which it will be, this is going to be the same objection that I give you, which is stance dependent. So which one of us is right?
Well, that's why we have elections, so that is adjudicated and then legislated on, right? Because ultimately there's philosophy and then there's...
What? What do you want to solve it by a duel? Huh? Come on.
That's why we have elections. Oh God. And so under this, like this is pure Rousseau. Under this framing, if 60% of the population voted to like kill the other 40%, that would be just and legitimate because they voted for it. Like, God. Sorry, I love causing me physical pain right here.
I like hurting you, and that's something I have to play on. Okay.
Politics, right? So you might philosophically believe that homosexuality is wrong, but at the level of society, we can have a vote, and it may turn out that the majority of the country doesn't agree with you.
But do you agree with me that your morality cannot come from the majority? Because if it does, all you're doing is doing the exact same thing. You're just saying, hey, now the majority says there are no moral facts, or only moral facts come from the majority.
Well, sure.
If that was the case, then we could have slavery, and that would be moral simply because the majority said it was.
And at one point it was, right?
And those
people believed in God way more than we do.
Well, yes,
they did.
This is true, but the thing is like that's the idea of
Now, when I listen to this, I'm like, how do you navigate that? Right? It's almost like a reason. Like if I believe in God, how do I defend these things? It's actually a roadblock I have sometimes, which sounds stupid saying it out loud, but deep in my head, I'm like, oh man, then I gotta like defend this stuff. It really is a superficial concern now that I'm saying it out loud.
Yeah, well, I mean, I guess it depends whether you look at the Old Testament or the New Testament. Like this is one of the problems is that the New Testament does not contain a lot of stuff for like how to run a government or go to war or any of those kinds of like other stuff. So a lot of the time Christians will fall back on using the Old Testament to make these kinds of decisions. But because the Old Testament is very mooish, it also contains like a lot of like really crazy stuff. I guess what's
been really helping is learning the difference in denominations has been immensely helpful. But please continue.
I mean, I guess my response to that would be it was the Christians that tried to end slavery. The British particularly, although now we've got more slavery than ever. I think there's also an economic sort of like argument here as well. You got to remember that slavery was just like a normal thing back in the day.
Yes,
it was like, oh, people own like farm equipment, or I know that's the joke, but seriously, that's how societies ran. So I don't know.
Let's see what he does with it.
They did.
This is true, but the thing is like that's the idea of presentism. The whole world always believed in that. Just like the whole world usually didn't entertain things like race mixing, though they had no conceptualization of race. They thought of things in a tribal way.
Yeah.
But they didn't do that either. Like, it was one of the things the United States always gets shit because in the 20s, 30s, 40s, especially heading into World War II, post World War I, well, there was a lot of
we cleared. A lot of what? Andrew Wilson?
there was a lot of segregation with.
He was gonna say miscegenation. Now, fellas, I have a hypothesis that Andrew Wilson might watch Rhetorically Ineffective because nobody uses the word miscegenation. Nobody uses that word. No one uses it. Go look it up. It's
a
archaic.
no-no word, Ardy. It's a no-no word.
They just say race mixing. If Eric Arval was gonna, I swear that's crazy that he almost said miscegenation.
Into World War II, post World War I, well, there was a lot of there was a lot of segregation with black people. That was global, though. That was global.
Okay, moving along, we have 2 more clips. Are you ready for the 2 more clips?
I'm ready. 2 more clips, bro.
We have secular view of society.
Oh, sign me up for that.
Yeah. You don't have
but you don't have to be Christian to pursue that. You could be a secularist politician and promote all those things.
Sure, but under a secular view, why do we need to have a domestic increased population anyway? They can just import who they want, and that's what they did in your country. I mean, I can do in my country.
I can give you lots of secular arguments for why having a bigger population.
See, it's not just that's what they did in your country. Then he laughed at him. Dude, salt in the But that's good antagonization, right? Maybe if Constant gets a little bit mad, then he'll actually have more of an honest argument.
Yeah, well, they don't the English, they don't like to admit it. Like they just because it gives it is a gaping hole blown in the idea that government represents the people. It doesn't. It hasn't for ages. But they hate, the English hate being reminded of this fact. A lot of them. They just, there's a scandal going on at the moment in the UK where the Prime Minister's on really thin ice. And the reason why he's on thin ice is that he appointed this guy, Peter Mandelson, as the US ambassador. And I think the thing that no one wants to say is that he was appointed because he was part of the Epstein class. They knew Trump was part of the Epstein class and they wanted an ambassador that could interface with the Epstein class. And that's the real reason. And it turns out this guy was like a wrong end. Oh, gee, what a surprise. And now, there's been all this fallout and, there's a big cover up and all this kind of crap. There is very, very clearly in the West a government above the government, right? Not just the civil service that survives government. There is a government above government. And you could argue that this is what happens when you change leaders every 4 years. If you want any kind of stability beyond that, what winds up happening is that there is a government above government. And in practice, it starts from the intelligence agencies because they've got all the information. They've got all the dirt on everyone. They've got the guns. They've got the spying equipment, all of this crap. And when this stuff gets revealed, everyone's like, oh, I can't believe this is how government works. Really? Are you fucking blind? They just go around oh, don't you know we live in a democracy? Then why has there been a stable series of policies that run completely against the demonstrated will of the people over decades? And mass immigration is one of those policies.
God damn, that was good. Thank you. All right, here we go.
Population is better and having more.
Well, why not import it?
Why not import it? Because you get issues with integration, cultural compatibility.
Unless you import so many of them that the original culture's replaced.
Well, you don't know who you're importing. And also, the argument for tradition, it's actually one of the interesting differences. We had Dr. David Starkey explain this to. I don't remember if it was on our show or not. The difference between American conservatism and British conservatism is British conservatism is about tradition and history, whereas American conservatism is about religion and values. So you could argue for the preservation of a society or the multiplication of an existing culture through time from a non-religious point of view, which is what we have is good by
Yes.
No, Konstantin. What has happened is that the
religiousization,
right? Yeah, of England, primarily driven by the Moors, has been going on for much longer in England. That's why, right? Whereas a lot of and where do you think the Americans came from? A lot of them came from England. That it's fine, right? And okay, yes, there was an agreement reached between a sort of accommodation between the Catholics and the Protestants, and there was a lot of beefing between the Catholics and the Protestants. But this idea that England is about tradition and not about religion is part of that fucking tradition. You gormless fucktard. It's doing my head in.
All right, perfect. Let me scoot you up over to Parker Posey over here, okay?
Okay.
Here we go.
Make sense from that. Why is it that they don't go right to the front lines then and battle it out, like draftees have at least the potential to? Well, that's a fundamental privilege that is not being addressed, right? And yet women have the vote. Doesn't seem like they care too much about men's rights, even though we're supposed to care about theirs. Seems like they have a lot of privilege in society.
Isn't that fair, Andrew? I think a lot of women care about men's rights, actually. Look, there's a vocal minority which say that they don't and they hate men. And look, we know those type of women. But let's be honest, a lot of women care about men's rights. They do.
Give me like 3 of the most prominent ones you can think of.
Who care about men's rights? Well, I'm trying to think now, but...
Well, I mean, we've had feminists on the show who are feminists, like Louise Perry, for example. They're a different type of feminists to the idiots that you'd be spending your time arguing with, but the people who have a very sensible view of these things. There's lots of people like that. By the way, coming back, not to change subject, but coming back to your point, I mean, one of the things that doesn't make a lot of sense to me is, for example, yes, it's true, men serve in combat roles and women don't, but women bear children and men don't. And there's a huge disadvantage in all sorts of societal outcomes from a materialistic career perspective to spending the time to bear the child and then to nurture that child, right? So
what? Like what? Well, that's backwards.
No, hold on.
Yeah.
The gender pay gap discussion, which is kind of stupid in a lot of areas, is actually a reflection of the fact that there is a motherhood gap in lifetime earnings, which is if you're a woman who bears children and
take
looks
more
after
time
them,
off, and
you take time off, then over the course of your life,
less overtime.
Yeah, you will earn less. So that would be one disadvantage that I could give you, where women contribute a different thing. So you might say, well, men get drafted, women carry children.
It's not a disadvantage.
What do you mean?
Oh no! Oh, they have to stay at home. Oh, and raise their kids.
See, now this is quality, playful, G-rated antagonization right here, and watch what it draws out of Constantine.
Where's the disadvantage again? The man's.
The men get drafted. Where's the disadvantage?
They die.
Okay.
They get shot in the face.
Yeah, and women earn less money.
Yeah, but women earn less money. Okay, so now we're comparing getting shot in the face to women. He tried to mirror Andrew Wilson before having a grounded epistemology in what he was saying. Oh, dude, just played him like a fucking fiddle.
Wife, I have just returned from the Somme. It was hell. Trench foot, shells everywhere. I saw my friends get slaughtered by the hundreds. Yeah, that's great, honey, but don't you know I'm going to earn less throughout my lifetime?
Yeah, while our kids at a babysitter.
Oh my God.
Course of their lives and have to carry a thing
they
that is a risk to their life potentially.
What they have instead is they now don't have to pay for daycare and they can depend on somebody else's income, which is taking care of them. Oh, that's terrible. Oh my God. You get to stay at home and you don't have to do anything except raise your kid. Wow. And by the way, they're putting their kids on a bus almost every morning to go to a public school. They don't even have them for 8 hours out of the day.
Which is true. And what's also fucked up is we still have laws as if this is how society is.
Yeah.
You know, in terms of getting divorced, it's like, I'm sorry, why does she get that? Because it's an old law. Well, then can we make the times go back to that way then to then possibly justify these laws? If a woman is married, her husband dies and she hasn't developed skills, how is she supposed to just get along and whatnot? That makes more sense. But we don't. So like, no. We're keeping that law and flipping the culture completely.
Day most of the time. So like, how is this the most incredibly difficult job ever, or in some way requires them to have they're the ones who are privileged? You know, there's an old comedian who made this joke, and I agree with it. Any job you can do in your pajamas can't be that hard.
Bill Burr, favorite comedian of ours, but
it can't be that hard.
He was joking though, knowing Bill, and now that he's married with kids,
right? And knowing comedians, the joke's only funny when it's not true, right? Constantine.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah,
of course, Constantine. These two comedians don't understand that. These two failed fucking comedians don't understand that point at all. I mean, well, it was a joke, so it's not true.
If you got your average woman and was like, which would you rather? Being a stay-at-home
what I would do
wife
for an
or
average woman nowadays.
Or working on an oil rig. Like,
yeah.
I mean, you know.
That roofing in July as a redhead was tough. No, you gotta bend over, shaky knees, putting the DVD in the DVD player. Oh, dude, it's brutal.
I think his perspective changed somewhat. But I guess, you know,
I'm married with kids.
Right. I mean, you watched your wife carry the baby or babies inside her for 9 months. Like, that's a big deal.
Sure.
So I guess that to me would be one example versus a hypothetical risk of once every 50 years you get drafted.
In a 2-income household, it's a privilege that women get to stay at home. It's a privilege.
But we're not talking about staying at home. We're talking about carrying the child.
Yeah, but carrying,
and then
the
most
child
women,
has to be raised.
And most women in America then go back to work.
Yeah.
At a disadvantage, as we just
Well, that's not a
established.
disadvantage, though, right? They don't have to have children. You have to go out for a draft.
Well, women do have to have children for our society to reproduce.
Well, they're not. So,
well, I mean, they are.
I mean, they're definitely
Your wife
not.
is, my wife is.
Yeah, but what's the birth rate?
And there's the meme. My wife is. Your wife is. My wife is. Is that typical? When you had children, what was the world like? Is it like what it is now? Is it veering in the direction of when it was when you had kids, or moving forward to this worse society where the birth rates are getting lower and lower? You want
I certainly hope Wilson isn't about to start talking about collective responsibilities here, because as I have learned from Dr. Lindsay, all sorts of collectivism is very, very bad, and we should just like let society die out instead of imposing any kind of collective responsibility on people.
Under replacement levels.
I know, but what you're talking about a side argument. What I'm saying is, in a society that wants to reproduce, men have to go to war and women have to bear the children.
That's true.
And so why don't we just say, well, the men go to war, the women have children, that's why they both.
When are they going to start having the children part of this?
I mean, my wife's doing it.
Yeah, but
your wife's doing it, so shouldn't they have the right?
I feel like when Kissen says go to war, he's thinking of like the past 100 years where they just send people overseas to fight in foreign countries. And England and the US are like similar in this, right? England is basically an island. The US is basically an island, mostly, okay? Surrounded by like sea, okay? When is the last time either of those countries got actually invaded? When they say go to war, they always basically mean like fighting foreign wars for the bankers. Like, oh God, we have to go to war. Don't you know my investments might go down? They don't have a central bank in freaking Crimea. No one be going to war to like defend their home. That's like a totally different thing.
Did you want to bring up Parker Posey, or are we watching more of this?
No, more of this. I think. Yeah.
Well, you're not fucking fighting war, are you?
Men. Well,
nor am I.
Is there the potential for that through the draft?
Well, like just the potential for them to have children. You say they're not. Well, I could say you're not being drafted. Same thing.
No, you can't. There is no equivalency, and I can point out the distinction.
Yeah, the compulsion thing. Yeah,
the compulsion. Yes.
But for a society to work, men have to go to war and women have to have kids.
I agree, but you need to get to they're having kids part before you can tell me that there's some equivalency to men being drafted, because they're not having kids.
And you're not being drafted.
But I can be compelled because I've signed up for the draft. Where have they signed up to have kids?
I think this is a splitting hairs argument.
I think it's not.
I think splitting hairs. The left always does this. He categorized what he's saying perfectly. The distinction. This is why what you're saying is a false equivalency at this, which no one does for an analogy.
He's just losing. I think you're just like splitting hairs. No, he's not fucking splitting hairs. Not at all.
The left loves saying that. They'll do their definition game all day long, and then once you're actually trying to get to the root of what they're saying, this is just splitting hairs, okay? Hey, is there a reason why you got your pants around your ankles at a daycare, Destiny? It's nuanced. Okay? You're taking that out of context.
You're just splitting pubic hairs here.
The idea that my children can be drafted, or I could be drafted even at my age, because perhaps I have knowledge which would be useful to the United States military. They could do it in 5 seconds. They could bring me on. They in Ukraine, they draft 60-year-old men. Okay, if they need you, they're going to take you. You can peel potatoes or whatever it is they need, right? Women do not have to do that. They do not have to sign up for selective service.
Yeah.
They're not compelled, and will never be
It's asymmetrical
compelled.
in that way.
They can avoid pregnancy, though, right? And if you're saying that they have a duty to have children,
I'm not saying they have a duty,
but you have a duty to go fight a war if you get drafted.
Correct.
Oh, okay. And this is fair. How? Where do we get to the fairness?
Well, not everything has to look exactly symmetrical. But your argument initially was, where's a privilege that men enjoy?
Not everything has to look symmetrical, but there's extremism on the right and left. You know.
Fuck's sake. So I just want to like talk about. So this clip set the cat among the pigeons.
Horrific.
The feminists did not like it. This is Posey Parker, who's like a TERF, a trans exclusionary radical feminist.
But an actual radical feminist.
Yeah. And most people are basically saying that Wilson like won. She of course takes the opposite view. If you want the right to vote, where is the reciprocal responsibility that you earn the right with? And is it being collectively fulfilled, or is your position that you should have a right with no reciprocal responsibility? And she's like, fine, I'll have 4 votes. I've had 4 babies. That's not how that shit works.
Oh my
right?
fucking God.
Your children get to vote, not you. That they're men non-fighting age or men with impairments who cannot get conscripted also lose their right to vote. I'm cool with that. You might not like his arguments. There is definitely a discussion to be had. Mothers returning to the workplace have a lot of unique skills to add. In the same way a father adds something different in the workplace, that would be a better place to start. She's like, we need a reset. I know far too many women who think about daycare for small infants before they're even pregnant. I can't imagine what it's like to drop a non-verbal child off with strangers every day. So she does like believe in women staying at home, just not women losing.
No, when Andrew says it, come on, let's be honest right now. It can't come from Andrew. It's coming from the truth is coming from the wrong person.
So this guy's like, feminists screwed over women by forcing all women to work. Do you think feminism made women work, or governments wanting tax revenue? Is it the tax revenue? They just wanted like less births, right? It's usury. It's what started this is usury. Oh my God. Look at the periods in England where they didn't have usury during the expulsion. They built cathedrals. They did all of this stuff. No one's fucking building cathedrals now.
No,
right?
they're burning them down in Canada.
Yeah. Government's not doing shit because all the money's going away on freaking debt repayments and like homes for like, oh God damn it. Yeah, it's fine, whatever. So yeah, that's basically all I wanted to like talk about. And I think, do we have something to like finish off at the end? Apparently there's been a coup in Iran. I don't know. There's,
aren't you glad that we're at that stage of the war? Okay.
The ceasefire's like running out on, I don't know, Trump says it's been extended indefinitely. I don't know, mate. When something actually happens, we'll let you know, bros. Do you know, I thought we had like something stupid to like finish off with.
Actually, I do have a dinner engagement to go to. And on top of that, Rob Noor is talking to Hello Listener right now, and I also want to listen to that. I can't imagine how the hell that conversation is going. Okay.
So
we can just cap it off here.
We have been Ardy and Fist. Thank you so much for listening, everybody. We will be back on Friday with another salubrious episode. Check out Fistery on my channel, and on Thursday I'll be releasing the next episode of Clown-Based Lifeforms with me and Aaron from Clowntown Chronicle. We will be talking, doing a part 2 of what is a conspiracy theory, where we go over like this just weird elite messaging that's been coming out from like the EU since the COVID times. Don't you know, conspiracy theory is just, when you start thinking that governments like might have a different agenda to that which they like publicly state, obviously like terrible. Check that out. It's all on my channel. It'll be like, it'll be fine. Thank you so much for coming, everyone. Wait, hang on. We've got a couple of super chats.
Oh, sure.
Jam for $10.
Oh,
thank you very much, Jam.
There.
I didn't quit my job only because of you, but you're joking about how I should get a new job and give my behind a rest was more a sign of the right direction in a series of signs. Oh, well, that's nice.
That you can rest easy now hearing that, right?
Don't want people taking fucking life advice from random streamers, man. It seems like I don't know. It seems like a bad idea. Jam, I wish you the best, mate. Right, like in your employee journey. I hope you find a better gas grape factory to work at. Right, that gives your gas the graping that it deserves. Right, like maybe they can like throw in like some preparation H as well. Soothe you into it. Thank you to everyone who super chatted. We will be back Friday.
Yes.
Friday. Take care, everyone.
Correct. Have a good night, fellas. Enjoy this conversation just like I will.
Ardy and Fist. You you,